blasted on them Discords. Thanks, Black Knight. I posted on a couple. I'm not supposed to on turns anymore because it like auto does it or something. And then that's double posting, then you get in trouble. For some reason, it's not starting on YouTube for me. Why isn't it starting?
Here at Noble Knight Games.
Well, okay. For some reason, it's not. There we go. Now it's working for me. I heard my own voice, meaning the audio is working just fine. How's it going? It's just trouble on my end. Couldn't hear the stream wouldn't start, so whenever I refreshed this page that you're all on, it just kept saying, oh, he'll be live eventually. I'm like, I am live right now. I actually know that. So, what do we have today? We have RTK versus NC, a clan war. That'll be a mix of 2v2s, 1v1s, that sort of thing. I do believe that neither clan can repeat factions. So, like, RTK can play dwarves once, NC can play dwarves once, then you won't see dwarves the rest of the day. Let's see how many games we have here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 1v1s and 3 2v2s. Each of the 2v2s is worth 1.5 points. Not 2 points, not 1 point, 1.5. Which means there are 10, 4, so 14.5 points up for grabs. The first two, 7.5 points does win it. Game one of the day, starting us off. I just closed my cheat sheet out of habit. Nope, get back here. Game one is Gotrek on the dwarves versus Rusting on the vampire counts. That feels horrendously unplayable. I will be very curious what the vampire counts are going to try to bring, but that sounds just garbage. That sounds like the worst thing I've ever heard. Oh, God. See, I was a hater of this matchup before the dwarves got a whole bunch of buffs, and now the dwarves have gotten a bunch of buffs, and I'm like, well, this is the most unplayable thing I've ever heard of. How's the job, Hummus Man? It's good. It's good. It's good. It's good. It's been really, really nice. I just got to get through some more announcements before we get into the games here. If you are looking for some action for yourself here, we do have in the next week, starting Saturday of next week, so 1 week from now, the Warpstone Cup is starting. We have 99, 100, 101, 102, 103. We have 103 people signed up for the Warpstone Cup. It will be taking place over pretty much the whole summer, May into July. It is very schedule friendly. You have to do one best of 3 a week. Schedule as you are able with your opponent, that kind of thing. So it is meant to be very friendly, as a lot of people are going to be going on vacation and stuff. Those kinds of things. So you can feel free to sign up for that. Also, if you're a newer player, you can get the Rat Ogre role and join our new player tournaments we host every single week. This week, Tactical Itch is hosting it for me because I am busy. And you can also get some replays of yours reviewed by coaches, maybe me, where we tell you what you could maybe be doing better. Also, I was instructed, demanded, imposed upon to mention that also you can join clans. I don't know if ODM is recruiting right now, but RTK is. They do a lot of domination and land battle stuff, so Ether game mode, they're pretty darn good at those. NC, the clan I'm in, is kind of always open to recruitment, so you can just ask somebody with one of the tags if you feel like joining a clan. Every clan has kind of a different culture, but most of them are just bros that want to play video games and they talk about builds and matchups and stuff, and it's good. It's good. It's good. So we're good to go once the players are ready. All right, 1 second. We are starting up here. As we load in, I've seen this build from Rusty before. It's like solid against the dwarves, but I don't know about the new dwarves. Though that is also not at all what I was expecting the dwarves to be bringing, so, okay. That's fine. Thunder Barge is banned, as per usual. It is just a horrendously badly designed unit. Fun for campaign, but nothing else. Strat game with the $20. Thanks. Let's get some good games in here. NC is always open for cool dudes. You never made me any better? What? What? If you're talking about me, then yeah, I generally don't help anybody ever. I am a trash person. Whoop. Dwarves setting up. And with most live games, I don't get right into the builds because they're going to reposition underneath my mouse, and then it's really hard to talk about because it's like, here's Malachi. Oh, there's Malachi. Oh, now he's over here. Now he's over there. So I'll just catch up with chat for a second. NC stands for nice cockroach. Dude, I hate cockroaches. They're the grossest thing on the planet. Them and cicadas. Cicadas are disgusting. They're just so creepy. Their eyes are gross. Their exoskeletons are gross. Everything about them just sucks. I have no redeeming qualities for cicadas. Fuck cicadas. Hot Love Night, Crew Strat, Lenormand, of course, Human Boy for working on this in the Clan War. I didn't work on this as much as Lenormand Strat did. I'm just casting and playing in it. What's the new spell meta? Same as the old spell meta, plus projectile spells got a bit of a buff, so those are kind of in it now, but the spell meta didn't change too much. Healing's still really strong, direct damage is still really strong, projectiles got a big, big buff. Team Liquid the GOAT? Gah, you're right. You're right, they did it. The lads did it! Spoilers if you didn't see something that happened almost 12 hours ago. Alright, builds are mostly set up. Let's get into it. For the dwarves, a front line of miners and dwarf warriors, back line of 5 thunderers, 5 iron drakes with the trollhammer torpedoes, and the Malachi Mycosyn did bring Eyes of Grugni to give all these guys 10% more range and damage. And that is it. Otherwise, he is just on the ground as a little shotgun dwarf. This is very, very similar to Gotrek's old VC Dowie thing. Sorry. There's someone messaging me about this. Anyway, sorry. Talking about the next game, so people distracted me, but it was important to scheduling. Anyway, this is very, very similar to Gotrek's previous build before the dwarves even got a buff. Malachi's new, and the trollhammers are now longer range, but less accurate, less burst damage. But they do fire damage now, which makes it much harder to heal things, so I guess they serve the same purpose. The main idea is a similar idea I have when I play Chaos Dwarves versus Vampire Counts, is just have more range than they can hope to shut down and really tax them out. Vampires in the current meta are super reliant on having a very overpowered lord, Vargeists, and then the rest of your roster is rather weak. Honestly, Blood Knights aren't as good as they used to be just because everything else is kind of like power crept them out of existence. Graveguard are like fine, but not amazing. Cryptors are decent, but they've taken several nerfs, so it can be pretty tough if you just focus fire down the Vargeists and then poke Manfred. For Rusty, he has abandoned the Blood Dragon Lord, as a lot of Vampire Counts players have, instead going with Manfred on his dragon, just a more diverse and good spell kit, especially with, as someone was mentioning, what's the new magic meta. All the same shit except for magic missiles did get a buff. They don't aim at the same target anymore, so they have better spread and better damage versus infantry and cavalry. And Gaze in the Gash is one of the biggest benefactors of that change. Other than that, Spirit Leech, Summon, Invocation Heck, the usual stuff. 2 White Kings, one with Scab Scrath, the other one just a foot anti-infantry hero. Graveguard, Zombies, Triple Vargeist, Double Fellbat. I think this is a really good build from Rusty. I just think this matchup is so cursed that it doesn't matter, but we'll see. This is my first time seeing it post-patch, so all of my opinions are from theory crafting. But theory crafting, I am very, very scared for the undead. Since I defected to Human Boy from Turin, does it make you a Turin refugee? Nice big damage from the Gaze and Nagash. Beautiful start there. And it is true. It's true, Odysseus. You are only allowed to watch one YouTuber. If you log in and check out one of my videos, you get banned from Turin's account. It's just a fact. Team return the kilometer. Iron Drakes have moved up. They're starting to poke at the White King. They're going to get a little bit of poke damage, but this is mostly so Gotrek can stop moving up and stop breaking his formation, I think. Because he doesn't really want to move around too much anymore. He just wants to sit and poke at stuff. Especially if Malachi can get in range. His really high weapon strength is pretty good. He's not a great character. He's, like, fine. I don't think he's weak. But his strength does come from just sitting and poking at stuff. If he ever gets involved in a real fight is when he starts to suffer quite badly. Vampire Count's setting up a full surround so that they can hit all Dwarven flanks at the same time. It's pretty smart. It's what you generally have to do. And he is offering up just a White King that can usually dodge away from a lot of the Trollhammer shots. So he's not taking too much damage. But the Vargeist are moving into range. Gotrek not targeting them right away. He is turning to target them now, but a little slow on the draw. The Vargeist should be able to get out of range without taking too much damage, but those Iron Drakes showing their new form. Another Gaze in the Gash hits the Trollhammer torpedoes. So far, 28 out of 28 models still alive. So they haven't lost any DPS just yet. And Manfred is getting smoked by the new Iron Drakes and the Thunderers. Having a bad time. Now the Undead are getting into range. The Graveguard could be a little difficult for the Dwarves to clear out. Just a little bit. But again, as I was mentioning before, the Vampire Counts in general have kind of been falling behind on the times. So I don't think the Dwarves are particularly worried about the Graveguard. They are just doing what you're talking about. Any damage on the Vargeist, any damage on Manfred is fine, and the rest you just trust that you'll be able to clear in the late game. Just because. As the Dwarves are firing in every direction, Fellbats do dive in. They take a lot of damage on the way in, but they shielded the Vargeist from taking any of that damage. Now Gotrek is aiming everybody at the Vargeist. This is the crux of his plan. As you can see, the Vargeist are like instantaneously deleted. There they go. The Vargeist take a ton of damage. They are both out. One Vargeist made it in, but now we can see all of the forces turning in on him. Firing away. Really good damage. And just like that, all 3 Vargeists are dead. You can see this was like, we talked about it at the start of the game. It's literally what this build is designed to do. It's how you fight Vampire Counts. You don't have one powerful thing that does a lot of damage. You just get as many slightly powerful things as you can. They can't disrupt them all. Now, Manfred is sniping at Malachi. When I said Malachi is a fine character, this is why. He is so squishy in melee, which I do not think is a bad thing at all, but Manfred is getting lit up. Anything of priority that lands in these dwarves is going to suffer their wrath. The Graveguard are ignored. The White Kings are ignored. Everything's ignored. And Manfred is dead. Manfred's dead. The Vargeists are dead. And the dwarves are up about 2-1 in damage value. Vampire Counts so reliant on their overpowered lord. Again, I don't think Vampire Counts are overpowered, but they do put a lot of their faith in their lords. Without him and without the Vargeist, they are probably just going to get kited out now, as some zombie summons are starting to fade away. The Graveguard and the White Kings are trying to chase down some stuff. For the Vampire Counts, there are some positives. They're routing some Thunderers. I don't know if they can chase them down. Are there any Fellbats left? No. So they might not even be able to chase Thunderers down, but they did rout some. They got rid of some Trollhammer torpedoes. Now the Graveguards are getting lit up. Dear God, that's good focus fire. Yeah, that is like the purpose of this build. It's so hard to deal with the vampire counts. And it was kind of this way before the DLC. Like, I'm not just trying to say this is DLC power creep. Right away, I was like, oh God, I don't know how the vampire counts are going to do this. I felt this way before the DLC. The DLC just made it better, but it's so tough. I feel like Rusty played that really well. Like, he got a really good surround in. He buffered for his Vargeist, but it just didn't matter as he landed in, and then, like, everything descended upon him and shot him. The Gaze of Nagashes were doing good damage, but they couldn't, like, finish any models, which was a big problem. So that's that. Iron Drakes did amazing. Thunderers did pretty darn well. Also, Malachi didn't do shit, but I guess he gave those guys extra range of damage. And that's that. Them be a derf. That is a 1-0 start to RTK, but we did burn the Dwarves, one of the two best factions right now. Okay. I'm just doing some scheduling stuff. Sorry, 1 second. Okay. Looks like we're joining Golden Floof. Golden Floof. Okay. Just figuring out what game I'm going to next. All right. Okay. Our next two games should be back-to-back, as we have now figured out the order. Just organizing some IRL stuff. You know, some people have to go and whatnot. So we're going to Golden Floof and Charix. Charix on the High Elves versus Golden Floof's Grand Cathay. Then we'll be hopping over to see Tim the Wilder versus Black Knight. I would say GG, but I don't know if that was even a game. It was like shooting babies in a barrel. Dude, it's tough. It's so tough. I'm still out here alone on my soapbox advocating for vampire counts buffs, but I feel like some people are so scarred that they just like don't want to hear it. Where they're like, oh man, I remember when vampire counts were so good and amazing, so like, shut up, noob. And I'm like, I don't know, dude. You tried playing vampire counts recently? They're not the worst faction, but they just need more than Lord plus Vargeists and Hope. Yeah. Fighting dwarves or Empire in the current state of things is really rough. I was playing with some content creators for early access stuff, and I'm like, oh, Empire is pretty strong, but dwarves are the real problem. And then I went to live, and like more people got to play, and like, not trying to be a dick to my content creator brothers, but most of the content creators I was playing with are not the best players in the world. You know, like me and Tactical Itch are not quite Alfredino and Sipa and Strat Game and them, you know? So then when it went live and more people got to play, I don't know, man. Empire's something else. Empire's fucking ridiculous. I was playing some games of Blood Penguin because he doesn't get to play a lot of his Empire. Most people ban it against him, so we handshook some stuff. Like I was like, hey, dude, I'll play you, but like, don't bring a land ship or a steam tank. That'd be cool. Because it was just some offline games for fun. And he's like, hell yeah. Still just rolled the shit out of me, and I'm like, wow, that faction's busted. But we're into game. 2 deployed faster than I thought they would. For Golden Floof, we have a Fire Rain Rocket to harass the High Elf Archers, Zaytang the Watcher to harass their Lord. We do have Zhao Ming, the Iron Dragon, with just his Dragon's Breath. 2 Onyx Crowmen, 2 Jade Lancers for a bit of scrapping, and then Jade Warriors and Iron Hail Gunners for a little bit of anti-air DPS out of them. For the High Elves of Charix, we have Eltharion the Grim, newly buffed and improved with his Mistwalker's Barrage, Tempest, and then Apotheosis. Do have an Arcane Phoenix that is going to dive straight onto the Iron Hail Gunners. Gets a big old poop tornado onto those guys. And that is going to be nearly entire Iron Hail deleted. Other than that, Rangers and White Lions of Krace, Archers in the back, and War Lions of Krace as well. Very little cavalry here for the High Elves. And you do need White Lions to be able to get through the Jade Warrior front line. You just can't take Spearmen. Spearmen are never going to get through that. Their non-armor piercing and low melee attack stats is no match for the Jade Warriors. So Zaytang is keeping Eltharion under constant pressure. Charix is very, very on top of dodging. The fact that that's the first shot Zaytang has hit is kind of insane as far as his micro has gone here, as he's dodging all over. But Zaytang is a sniper, and you can only dodge him for so long. Golden Floof quickly realizing he has the mobility advantage. 2 War Lions of Krace does not compare to his 2 Crowmen and 2 Jade Lancers, so his Jade Lancers are starting to get active in the front line, charging down some Rangers a bit. And Iron Hail Gunners routing away just as Zhao Ming needed them, but the Jade Lancers will come back and try and help out as the firing rockets do a little bit of friendly fire to the Jade Lancers, but they are aiming for this pocket of 2 High Elf Infantry. The other High Elf Infantry have hit the front line, and they are going to beat up on Jade Warriors, but Onyx Crowmen are deleting the Archers that will save the Iron Hail Gunners and the Firing Rocket. Zaytang is currently obstructed, can't see Eltharion in this pile, as that Mistwalker's Barrage, newly buffed, does do a lot of damage to the Jade Lancers. It's going to get them to rout soon, but when they rout, that means the Iron Hails can see, that means Zaytang can see, so it is a blessing or a curse that you defeated them? Oh, the Iron Hails aren't shooting at the bird, and Eltharion does run away, so good stuff there. Rangers running forward. Cathay gonna fall back. Their mobility is doing great. The Onyx Crowmen have done a lot of good work. The High Elf Archers are all gone. The Jade Lancers are continuing to try and sweep around and help in the backfield. But you do have to remember, as Grand Cathay, your balance of power is going to be artificially inflated by Zaytang as long as he's like full health and tons of his very, very precious ammo. But if you get into a late game where it's just Zaytang, if he gets surrounded by anything, he'll just lose. Like, he's already getting distracted by Rangers, which is terrible for Grand Cathay, so we'll see if they can maintain that lead. We do still have some Iron Hails in here with good HP, though they are routing. There's another one over here that has rallied. If these guys can find either of those big birds, they'll do a lot of damage. Zaytang needs to peel away from the Rangers, probably go up here. Just sit up there and keep shooting in, because him being in melee is just terrible. Like, he is a terrible melee combatant, and that's fine. I'm not complaining. Zaytang is amazing at, like, everything else. But he does need to get out of here. Zhao Ming continues to harass the 2 birds away, but the Firing Rocket is finally shut down by the War Lions of Krace. It got about half of its ammo out, did a little bit of damage value, so I guess it is fine. And the High Elves are attritioning a little bit. Can Zhao Ming and Zaytang carry? Or will the High Elves hold on for long enough? There is going to be a bit of RNG here. We'll see if the Arcane Phoenix decides to just die, or if it is going to get its big old heal several times over. Iron Hail Gunners trying to reform ranks and shoot at that bird, but the Rangers just won't let them, and they do rout them. There is a big shot from Zaytang. Looks like one more will determine whether or not that bird gets its heal. As Eltharion dives back in onto Zhao Ming, has been occasionally healing himself up with Apotheosis. Cathay is maintaining a little bit of a damage value lead, but again, I'm worried Zaytang is most of it. In comes the big shot. He misses the bird. Something is happening here. Does a Tempest poke down Zhao Ming? I mention it every time, but if you don't know, Tempest targets you if you can fly, not if you are flying. So it is doing damage to Zhao Ming right now, as another really good dodge from Charix onto Zaytang's, well, from the Arcane Phoenix on Zaytang's bow. Zaytang still trying to fire in. The Arcane Phoenix is taking a lot of damage, trying to proc that heal as Zaytang winds up the kill shot. He might just burst it past the point where it can even heal. There it is gone! Very unfortunate for the High Elves. They don't get that rebirth. They really wanted it. Now the name of the game for Grand Cathay is let Zaytang continue to snipe Eltharion and slowly feed peasants into the wounded High Elves. Hope Zhao Ming can clear them out with Dragon Breath attacks plus his terror. Just keep Zaytang safe. Don't let him get distracted. Don't let him do his stupid dance in them where he jumps up into the sky and swings around and does, like, literally 0 damage. Like that. That thing he's doing right there, Golden Floof needs to make sure that doesn't keep happening, as Eltharion is going to keep hunting Zhao Ming. Now, Zhao Ming has a big heal hidden. He will, after he takes enough damage, just get a big ol' heal. And the High Elves don't have any source of fire damage left, so they can't stop him from getting that heal. And Zaytang is continuing to poke at Eltharion. High Elves have an infantry advantage, but infantry advantages are hard to turn into wins in the current state of Warhammer 3. You can, but it's just difficult. This Golden Floof doesn't have a lot of cavalry left, so he can't infinitely cycle charge his way to victory. He just doesn't have the amount of HP that makes sense. Like, he'll get some good charges, but he will take damage each time. And they gotta buy Zaytang some space. He is throwing guard mode on to keep shooting at Eltharion, but even then, he still gets distracted. And you can see he just has really pathetic melee stats. He's not damaging these white lions at all, which, again, not complaining, just pointing it out. I like it for Zaytang as a weakness. And Eltharion is finally starting to target Zaytang himself, just deciding he can't deal with getting sniped in guard mode over and over, but the High Elves get some disastrous terror routes, peeling them away from Zaytang, once again freeing him up, and Zhao Ming also contributed there. Zaytang needs to focus, though. He can't keep farting around like this. Another big breath attack in from Zhao Ming. Eltharion is coming back. We still have some High Elf archers on the far side firing in. I think Cathay is in a good position right now, but I don't think it's an automatic win. I'm getting very concerned about the amount of High Elves still streaming in slowly but surely, and Zaytang's inability to get any shots off onto Eltharion. Partially due to Sharks' really good dodging this whole game, but also partially just Zaytang not throwing on guard mode or not peeling himself enough away from his infantry. But this could be a mistake from the High Elves. They are really clustering up for the next breath attack from Zhao Ming. Zhao Ming's about to get his big heal. There's the breath attack. It is huge, but another Tempest is going to poke him down. It should proc his heal. He should be okay, because that heal also gives him a big ward save, which will also deter a lot of the damage from this Tempest. And Zaytang gets a shot on the back. Zhao Ming is not on fire, so he is getting his full heal as he's fighting back against Eltharion. But Zaytang, you have to throw guard mode on. You have to kill Eltharion. You have to save Zhao Ming, or this game is over. Throw on guard mode, for the love of God. Winds up the bow, lines up the shot. Is this the game-winning shot? Hits him in the back as Zhao Ming punches him in the face. Eltharion is suddenly routing, and with him, the courage of the High Elves should also go. But Zhao Ming is trying to kill him. Eltharion won't rout. Eltharion won't quit. He's even getting an apotheosis off as another big breath attack from Zhao Ming goes down through all of the High Elves, and Zhao Ming is going to rout away. There's no more healing for him. Zaytang's still trying to fire. Some terror outs are coming in as the High Elves' terror resistance is wearing off, but Zhao Ming continues to take damage. Zaytang, you have to get the shot off. You have to fire. You can't keep fucking around with these random High Elves. You have to shoot. Winds up the bow. Eltharion's gonna try to dodge, but not fast enough. Takes to the face. Will you break, you stupid High Elf Griffin piece of shit? He's gone. He's finally routed. Running away. Zaytang, hit him again. Hit him again. The only way you win this is if you abuse the leadership of the High Elves. If they're too low on leadership, there is the bow shot. It misses Eltharion while he's not even dodging. Eltharion's fine. And Zaytang's surrounded by so many High Elves. We have Peasant Longspears coming back. We have Zhao Ming, the Iron Dragon, coming back. Zaytang needs to fire. He can't deal with all this stuff around him. He just can't. His only job is to make sure that Eltharion fucking dies. And he does. The High Elves all of a sudden start breaking. It's over. Army losses takes over as Zaytang does it. Barely holding on. "27 shots, 1 kill. That was good. That was good. All right, we have another play. We have two other players waiting for us, and one of them is on a time crunch. So I'm going to blast through these values. But Altharian did great. A very, very good game between these two. Zaytang and Zhao Ming putting on a clinic of how to solo carry as the Grand Cathay frontline tried to hold Shark, shut down a lot of stuff, but he couldn't shut down those single entities. And I do have to scuttle on to go find Tim the Wilder and Black Knight. I will give NC their point. Don't you worry. I'm just getting here so the players aren't waiting on me. Here we are. Newly buffed Empire versus the High Elves. Now it's RTK's turn to get a DLC faction. It's NC's turn to try and make the High Elves remain in the conversation in a meta that is increasingly shifting away from them. They're not a bad faction at all. It's just over, like, there was a point where they were top tier, I think a year and a half ago, probably, when the vampire counts were super OP. Like, because the meta was Imrik, Malekith, and then vampire counts. That meta. Hives were like top of their game then, and it's been slowly every patch they either take nerfs or other stuff gets buffed past them, usually with DLCs. So Hives have been kind of on a downward trajectory just because a lot of other factions are creeping up. So they're still like good, but they've kind of fallen out of the top tier conversation. They're not a bad faction though, not at all. Pepe Papo. Big JP with $20. Really good game. So close. Thank you, Human Boy, for casting his Clan War. If you're interested in getting better at land battles or at Dom, check out the RTK Collegium. We are also actively recruiting. JP, that is true. I did also mention it when you told me to. I listened at the start. You can go back at the start of the stream. I said RTK is good at domination. I said they're good at land battles. And I said you were recruiting. I listened. I did the thing you told me to do. But it is true. You're about as neutral as the NA LoL commentators today on the TL matchup? Yeah. Though I did go out of my way several times to compliment Sharks' dodging, because that was insane. I've never seen Zaytang miss so many shots. And sure, the one where Altharian was routing, and he missed anyway, that's on Zaytang. But Sharks had some sick moves. I saw 3 dodges with Altharian and 2 dodges with the Phoenix. And those are just ones I saw, you know, and I can't catch every single thing. Human Boy, is that a TL shirt for League? Hell yeah, it is. You know why I'm wearing it? Because they kicked Fnatic's ass today. Let's go. I wasn't thinking that was the way it was going to go when I woke up, because they just got so stomped by TES. It was the least close 0-3 of the entire tournament. And Fnatic played TES, and it was close-ish. So I was like, oh, okay, Fnatic's going to win. But now I'm happy, because I don't think this is League of Legends. While these two are finishing their armies and readying up, I don't think TL is going to beat G2. I think G2 will probably beat PSG and then beat TL. I am just happy we didn't lose every single best of and then go home losers, where it's like, all right, cool. FlyQuest fell out in play-ins, which sucks. And then TL beat Fnatic, and then probably lose to G2, and we can kind of like just take it as a, we did okay. We did okay. Because I'm one of those people, I'm a big NA fan, man. I'm a huge NA fan, but I also acknowledge reality, and I set my goals accordingly. Where it's not like NA is a shit tournament unless we win Worlds. It's like, no, we're not the best region. We're not a very good region. So like, it's all about setting goals for yourself. And my goal was beat EU and do fine. And when FlyQuest dropped out, do fine was looking pretty rough. When TL went 0-3 to TES, do fine was looking pretty rough. But now it's like, hey, all right, we beat Fnatic. We're good. As long as we like, if we lose to G2, I mean, if we beat G2, that's great. I'm just not betting on it. But like, if we lose to G2 1-3 and the games are pretty good, yeah, pretty successful MSI. FlyQuest boomed, but that sounds like Inspired's just an asshole. Like, I don't know. I'm not making excuses for him. One of our teams boomed, and that shit sucks, but it was our second place team, and they're second place for a reason, and it looks like because their jungler is a fucking dick. He's such an asshole. Oh well. It's whatever. But G2 looks so good. G2 looks so good in their matchup that I'm just like, I don't think TL's going to win that one, and I acknowledge it. So I'll take the win today. LEC on top? Yeah. What's all this nerd talk? I'm just filling time between the games, as I do. It's just the orgs. The Rainbow Six Siege teams. I never got into Rainbow Six Siege. I played Rainbow Six Vegas a lot when I was in high school, and then Rainbow Six Vegas 2, I just played Terrorist Hunt with my friends, which was like the co-op versus AI horde kind of mode. Kinda. If you know the game, then you know that horde mode isn't the correct way to describe it, but you also know that it's kind of so niche and complicated, it's not worth going into. But I didn't get into Siege. That came out when I was like... I got deep into strategy games on the computer again, and then Siege was out, and I was just like very out of first-person shooters. And it's not like first-person shooters' fault. I'm not trying to say they're bad games. It was just like, oh, I haven't played one for a while. And now every time I pick up a first-person shooter, I'm just getting deleted by 10-year-olds, and I don't know what's going on. And it's like, okay, I spawned, I turned a corner, and I died 6 or 7 times. Oh, okay. And then someone's shrieking at me over voice comms. I can hear dogs barking in the background incessantly. It's just like, oh, okay, this is a fun experience. I'm gonna go back to RTSs. I'm gonna go back to what I know what I'm doing. Some silver scrapes in this clan battle. We'll see, man. We'll see. RTK is famously good at 2v2s, so I think that's where they're gonna make a lot of points up. They've always been great at 2v2s. Just always, always. You're a relatively new player to land battles. Is Tomb King's viable at all? Yes. Yes, they're solid. Salvin. They're solid. I wouldn't even call them good. I would just say they are like dead middle. You know what I mean? They have a mix of terrible, useless units and then really good, amazing units. Melee Ushapti Great Bows, Sporkle Stalkers, Bone Giants, Screaming Skull Catapults are like your 5 units that are any good. Your front line's kind of trash, but you need them. Your cavalry's all garbage. Your chariots are all garbage. Any other monster I didn't mention is fucking garbage. So they're all pretty bad. But if you stick to the units that I listed, you'll generally be fine. Now for Tomb Kings, if you notice a pattern of the units I listed, you have 2 ways of playing the game that are going to get you wins. Kiting with Sepulchral Stalkers and Ushapti Great Bows, or boxing with a Bone Giant and Ushapti Great Bows. Because all of your good stuff is ranged. So, you're going to have a hard time. Melee Rush really isn't that viable with Tomb Kings right now. And someone's going to come in with a niche thing. We're going to say, like, Necropolis Knights and all that stuff. Yeah. But we're talking in generics, right? So, that might be good in, like, 3 out of 24 matchups. But I'm saying, in general, Tomb Kings aren't Russian people. But they're, like, fine. They could use some buffs on some of their lesser units. Strat game coming in with the thing I was just prefacing. Necro Knight Melee Rush is fine. It is, but like you need to know what you're doing with that one. Whereas Ushabti Great Bows and Box is kind of plug and play. You'll generally do fine versus most factions with that. Necro Knight Rush, you need to kind of fight factions that don't have really strong front lines with armor piercing or halberds like Chaos Warriors. If you're Necro Knight rushing into Warriors of Chaos, I am extremely concerned about your chances of success. Same with Khorne, right? That's kind of what I'm trying to get to. Or Dwarves, honestly. Dwarves with their Slayers and abundance of shooting. I feel like Necro Knight Rush isn't going to work. And that's kind of what I'm trying to get to here. No pressure, Tim, but this is looking like a whitewash. I don't know, but I do know that so far, NC has gotten a win off the Dwarves, which are OP as hell, and Grand Cathay, which is OP as hell. And RTK has gotten losses on Vampire Counts and High Elves, which are both fine factions, but they're not OP. So, that freight train goes both ways, my friends, as eventually, somewhere in this lineup, let's see, where does RTK have the Dwarves? Ah, we matched up Empire against Dwarves. Okay, at least we matched OP versus OP. But my point is still, my side also has to beat those factions at some point. And, it's tough to do. it's very tough to do. RTK looking to swing back with their Empire. Let's get into the builds here. Templehof Luminarch of Hish ROR to keep the High Elf Lord and single entities under pressure. We have a Master Engineer on his Steam Tank. I have heard a lot about this, with the Jade Wizard to heal him up. A Blast Scroll, I guess, is interesting, but Earthblood mostly just to spam heals in the Master Engineer. Then we have some Huntsmen, some Democrats with Halberds, and a bunch of State Troops. Mostly, these two are going to be doing the work. It's like the Templehof Luminarch kills the single entities, the Master Engineer cycle charges and sweeps everything else on the entire map. That is largely the plan. For the High Elves, we have a front line of Spears, secondary line of Archers, a Life Mage, and then Dragon Princes and Silver Helms, plus Imric. Imric is going to be the target of the Templehof Luminarch. He does have 25% missile resist and 25% fire resist, so he has 50% resistance against its missiles, but that missile strength is so high, I still think he's going to have a very hard time. What makes Dwarves OP? The amount of options they have now to buff cannons? Yes, but they also just got a ton of DPS while also being a very, very tanky faction, and they're just undercosted. Like, most of their units are very, very cost effective, and they have a lot of different ways to play. Dwarves are just strong as hell. Big, strong. Master Engineer on a Steam Tank trying to fire at the Silver Helms. And this could be something. The Empire didn't bring the most DPS versus Cavalry. Master Engineer can do fine. Democrats with Halberds can do fine here. But they're not nearly as specialized at killing the Cavalry as they are at sweeping through infantry with the Master Engineer or Templehof Luminarch sniping out Imric. Looks like Black Knight is going to play back. We saw this a lot with Rusty in Game 1, just trying to stay out of the effective range of the ranged faction, Dwarves and now Empire, while their front line moves up. Because your fast units, they can catch up to this in no time at all. It's much more important to just stay out of range and stay out of taking that free damage while your archers and spearmen get into position. Because if he overextends, he's going to get there before his front line, or he's going to take a whole bunch of poke, which right now some Silver Helms are going to shop at the Templehof Luminarch, but you can see it's really not doing that much damage. It's doing damage, but not like crazy amounts. Not as much as it would do if it was onto Imric. I do worry about this Master Engineer getting free cycle charging off, though, because archers aren't able to do much. This thing has a 70% block chance from the front, 100% block from the front, 50% from the sides, and 10% from the rear. It's not like the archers can punish it as you would traditionally think. And the spearmen are just going to get run through. And this is what Tim was planning. Is now, the Templehof Luminarch is peeling for him. Because if Imric dives in, as he wants to, the Templehof is going to shoot at him, as it is starting to now. So it's either you let this guy run through your front line for free, or you try and stop him, but then you're going to be subject to the Templehof Luminarch. High Elves taking a lot of damage on the charge, as it goes. How do people find Ironsides in multiplayer? In multiplayer, they're trash. They are horrendously bad. Imric lands on the Master Engineer, misses his landing attack, does hit his first side swipe, as some Dragon Princes are also coming in. The Templar Luminarch's trying to get a shot off, but it gets obstructed at the last minute. No, it does fire, but it manages to hit the Master Engineer as well, so things going about as well for the High Elves as you could hope. Dragon Prince is falling back now, not getting too much done. The archers are in range to punish the Huntsmen and force those guys down. Imric's still trying to chase the Master Engineer and the Templar Luminarch as the High Elves do get a good surround. Their cavalry's moving in to sweep through these Huntsmen, but also keep the Luminarch under pressure. Because if the Cav can surround him, then that means Imric can finally play with the Master Engineer without having to worry about that Tempelhof. All of the Demigryph Knights with halberds, though, coming in, and a blast scroll down the side, killing off a Silver Helm entirely. Lord of Dragons is down on this Demigryph, giving it 8 melee defenses. The Silver Helms try and get more damage out, but the armor is keeping them safe, because High Elves have always had a problem with not having armor-piercing cavalry. It is really brutal for them. The Pigeon Bomb thingy from the Master Engineer doing really good damage to Dragon Princes and Archers, who try and get healed up by an Earthblood. And their Archers are in range to start punishing the front line, but also they could be firing back into the Demigryph Knights, or even onto the Tempelhof Luminarch to get a little bit of damage onto that thing. Luminarch is aiming for the Life Mage, trying to cut off Imric's healing before it begins. Half health, sir, and someone somewhere has to do something about the Tempelhof Luminarch. Imric might have to dive it, or the archers need to start shooting it, but someone has to stop it, as it's going to get another shot onto the Mage of Life and probably kill her off outright. Silverhelm still trying to charge down some state troops of the Empire. But Empire is doing very, very well here into the High Elves. Steam Tank's getting a sneaky pass. Now, there's people that want the Steam Tank banned. I just don't know if we have the data for that yet, but it is very, very strong. I don't know if it's, like, bannable strong, though. But Steam Tanks are dumb. There was a lot of suspect design choices in this DLC. Overall, I'm very, very happy with it, but the amount of unbreakable chariots or flying chariots that they put in the game, I was just like, hey, CA, why'd you do that? Why are we getting so many unbreakable chariots right now? Big breath attack from Imric does do some decent damage to the Master Engineer, but I think he is ignoring the Tempelhof Luminarch at his own peril. Now, thankfully for him, Tim hasn't focused too much on killing off that Mage of Life that he could have earlier. And in comes a big net. Tempelhof Luminarch is now aiming at the Mage again, trying to cut off that healing. And no one has stopped the Luminarch. Another shot. Mage gets cut down to about 1/4 HP. One more shot on her and she's dead. The archers are trying to peel back, and at this point I think the High Elves are just doomed. Their cavalry can't stand up to the Demigryph Knights. There she goes. She's dead or shattered. Imric lands on the Tempelhof Luminarch at last, and then he gets the T-posing bug that I haven't seen in a while, but has been around. And that's probably GG. Master Engineer crushing it. It's 70%? No, it's not 70%, because it's 100% from the front, 50% from the sides, and 10% from the rear, which this little icon just kind of goes to 70%, but it's incorrect. It's 100% from the front. Imric's still trying to run around with this Tempelhof Luminarch. He finally gets a big hit onto it. Lord of Dragons is out onto the Luminarch, giving it 0 and 0 for stats. But I mean, the Empire still has 2 full health Demigryph Knights with halberds running around. Tank has taken no damage from Imric, how silly. Yeah. Empire's pretty damn OP. It's 70% front. 70% from the front. But what about this? It literally says 100% from the front. That's weird. That is a weird way of doing the UI. Don't even have a chance against this matchup yet. Tank is loreful. It can be loreful, but it should also be priced appropriately, right? That's what people are talking about. Nobody wants a tank to like get stuck in infantry or do nothing or die instantly, but it also shouldn't be as cheap as it is. So it should probably be like most of your army cost. Gotcha. The issue isn't that the tank is tough, it's just that the dragon should one-shot it? No. Land shipping steed tank should be more expensive? Yeah. Yeah, because it's kind of like if the rogue idol was priced like a giant, then it would be super OP in meta, but it's not. It's like 2,000 gold, which then people don't want to take it. So it's all about cost, right? And the Master Engineer is just too cheap right now. Well, any form of the steam tank is too cheap right now for what it does. Who thought the literal tank could be good at absorbing damage? No, it can be, but it can also be way too cheap for its cost. They're like 2,000 gold and they just run over your whole army. Like, it's all about proportional, right? Because not just like, thing do good, it's thing do good for what cost. Pan Empire. RTK is on the board. And I believe I'm up next, I think. Yeah. Alright, I'll go fight Big JP. JP! Skaven versus Dark Elves. I was joking with JP when we matched up. I was joking with JP when we matched up that, like, I used to ban this matchup as Skaven because there's too many ways Dark Elves can play it, and it's really hard to prepare for everything they can do, and it feels like you're just guessing. And nowadays, with the current iteration of Skaven, I'm like, is the matchup still playable? Yes? Then it's a good matchup. There are so many unplayably bad matchups for Skaven right now that it's like, if I can load in and not instantly lose, best I'm gonna get. Taking it. So Dark Elves is fine. Kislev, unplayable. Grand Cathay, unplayable. Bretonia, fucking unplayable. Lizardmen, pretty bad. Not unplayable, but pretty bad. After the nerfs to Lizardmen, it's like a little more you can do, but it's still really fucking bad. Empire, unplayable now. Slaanesh, still pretty bad. Warriors of Chaos, still really bad. Beastmen, after all their buffs, really bad. Nurgle, after their buffs, bad, but not unplayable, but bad. How much is the Engineer on his tank? 2,600. Skaven, greater than Brett? I don't think that's true. I don't think that's true. Because, like, it's tough, but, like, whenever people tell me that Skaven are favored into Bretonia, I play Bretonia into them, slap them 3 times in a row, they rage quit, and then go back to telling me Skaven is favored into Bretonia, and I'm like, okay, but just because people play it wrong into you doesn't mean it's good for Skaven suddenly. And then, like, people will send me things of, like, oh, I took Royal Hippogriff Knights and Lewin, I paired them right next to each other, I walked into a Howling Warp Gale, then a Flensing Ruin came down, 3 Rattling Gunners shot them, and they all died. I'm like, well, yeah, but your opponent fucked up. Like, doesn't indicate the overall strength of the matchup. The right way to play it is to take almost 0 infantry, almost 0 archers, and just get like 4 or 5 Knights of the Realm, Hippogriff Knights, Lewin, or Alberic. Alberic's also pretty good because of his Trident with its Discouraged. And then Healing Caster. You just need to like abuse Skaven leadership. Then it's pretty fucking bad. But you want to come in from all angles. You want to treat it like Vampire Counts, but you're playing Bretonnia. Where you just set up a big surround and then go in all at once. But if people like... If you spoon feed in one at a time, yeah, Skaven will take you out pretty easily. It's rough. I don't know. I can't win it versus like anyone really good at games. Like Hanadins or Alfredino. Or Berserk. Or Butcherbird when he plays Bretonnia into my Skaven. Or Blood Penguin when he plays Bretonnia into my Skaven. It just feels fucking unplayable. And I haven't played it with Strat, so I don't know. Maybe Strat will show me something, but I was playing it with some other people in NC. I don't want to name names, but they're like, this matchup's so fucking good. And then I played Bretonnia and just slapped it, and it was like, no, it's not. I don't know. If you're talking about the Warp Grinder blob, I've beaten that several times. All right, let's focus up. What's his unit count? 1,500, so he might not be doing Dragon Double Manticore. He might not, because his unit count's too high. I was working on this matchup a lot with Golden Floof. We'll see what he ends up doing. It was still kind of tough, depending on what they did. Bum, bum. It was kind of tough, but I had an easier time generally versus the wider armies than versus Double Manticore Soulstealer Caster. Double Manticore Soulstealer Caster was really brutal. Like, I would get super far ahead of Golden Floof in the early game, and then 2 Manticores and Soulstealer Caster would just rout my entire army. But if you played my Warp Grinder Blob, no. Alright, so it's Malice. And then Blackheart Corsair Rush. Double Bloodwrack Medusa or just one? Looks like just one. For now. Okay. So my first unlimited power already did a lot of damage to Ikit. That's not a great start. Alright. Rat Ogres deal with Malice. You guys just kite away. Globes punish the blob as Rat Ogres and Dogs are going to charge in to deal with anybody who's already routing. Globes refocus up onto the next blob as you guys kite away a bit. But my Dogs can chase through this, and if his Dark Riders are going to go AFK in front of me, then I will punish them for that. But we're just focusing on breaking the front line, and I need to slowly feed Malice Rat Ogres. Because that's the only way to deal with them is just to like army loss them on the other side. But right now, all I need to prioritize doing is chasing everyone off the battlefield. That isn't Malice. And that's how you need to try to win this matchup as Skaven, is just ignore the single entities, including the Soulstealer Caster. If you're ever playing this, just ignore the Soulstealer Caster. I know it sucks, but you have to. You just have to walk away from them. Because you're going to have to army loss them in the late game or just Cleanse and Ruin spam them and shit. But you can't do that while you're being flanked by random stuff. And Elven leadership is too good for you to be able to fuck around with it too much. So you just ignore it. You just walk away. Because whatever lord they're bringing is stupid expensive. So you need to abuse that. Where, like, right now, Malice and his Deathcaster and all this shit is, like, I don't know, 3,000 gold. It's fighting, like, 400 gold worth of dudes. And if I was smarter, I would be kiting away better with these gutter runners, but I'm making mistakes because I'm human. But regardless, this is going roughly how I want it to. Now I can peel over some Rat Ogres, deal with Medusa. But, like, you really need to invert what they expect the matchup to be. Where Skaven are gonna box, and you need to break apart the box and then chase them off the map and abuse them. But with this build, since I'm rushing him, it's like we switch what's happening, right? Where now I'm chasing him off the map, and Malice and his Deathcaster aren't abusing a box of Skaven where they can get all their AoEs together and completely fuck me up. They're chasing me around the map, and they can only take one fight at a time, one fight at a time, one fight at a time. Well, I didn't spend that much money on my single entities. I'm not dealing with blobs. I'm super spread out. All my gutter runners and night runners are getting off good things. My rat ogres and dogs are chasing off random people, and that's largely what we're supposed to be doing here. So Ikit just needs to stay away from Malice and the Deathcaster. My dogs are chasing down Deathcaster that's currently getting Flensing Ruined or whatever. No, she hit them. My globes plus the night runners are dealing with the Dark Riders. Malice is still full HP. I just ignore him. Like, army losses might take him out. And there we go. Human Boy the Kiter. I did steal this build from ODM. Steal is a strong word. I just asked one of their players where I was like, you guys keep saying Skaven is strong. How? And they're like, just get like a fuck ton of night runners and gutter runners. And they're solid. They're pretty solid. But yeah, Floof and I practice this a lot. Soulstealer Caster on a dragon with double Manticore takes this build super close, but anything that's not that, it can roll over them pretty hard. Malice got 113 value, just killing rat ogres. Just ignore him. Run away. Don't blob up. Still the S tier faction. Uh-huh. Okay. Where am I going next? We did Black Knight, did Golden Floof. So now, am I going to the 2v2? Are we going to the 2v2? Yeah, we're going to the 2v2. First 2v2 of the day. Should be Bwags and Gotrek versus Achilles and Vicious Satsuma. Wait, Satsuma's playing? Holy shit! Let's go! I love Satsuma, dude. I love him. I love him. I used to be in RTK, and whenever Satsuma was in a voice chat playing Vermintide with the boys, it was such a good time. And he was one of the originals that I would watch on Turin streams before I got into multiplayer. Like Satsuma playing Greenskins, legend. Hadri's playing Skaven, Chosen One playing Skaven. Tesla and Energized playing Beastman, if I remember correctly. Hyale Nale. Anybody remember Hyale Nale or just me? Lizardmen, Flying Taco Lizardmen, Felcon Lizardmen, and High Elves a little bit. Toxon Soothsayer on Empire. Those were the good times. But yeah, Satsuma still around. They took him out of Age of Empires 2 retirement. Karazak Karax Arena, that's usually Gotrek's lobby. Alright. What do we got here? So if RTK win this, it's worth 1.5 points. So then we're pretty much tied again. It'd be 2.5 to 3. So this is where they possibly get back on the board. And RTK are, I'm going to say it. RTK are the best clan at 2v2s. They always have been. They're always really good at 2v2s. So, I'm hoping for my boys, Gotrek and Bwags. I'm hoping for them. But I'm not betting on them. That's very different. Gun to my head, $500 million on the table. Who I'm betting on to win this? Achilles and Satsuma. Who am I rooting for? Bwags Gotrek. All the way. Let's go. NC, baby. It's High Elves and Dwarves versus Vampire Counts and Tomb Kings. All right, we have a different lobby to go find. All right, we're trying to find the lobby. There's confusion. There's shenanigans, as per usual. All right, so we had the classic situation. We had the classic situation where one party went one place, one party went another place, and then when both parties said, "You come here," both of them said no, and then both of them said yes at the same time. So that it was like Satsuma left his lobby to go to Gottrek's lobby, and Gottrek left his lobby to go to Satsuma's lobby, and nothing happened. So that's my bad. Sam Goodwin with the CA 1399. Great games today. Thanks, Human Boy, for hosting all these streams. Yeah. I will. Okay. The streams have been banging. And yes, I deserve all the praise. And yes, I deserve all the money because I'm amazing. But, follow up. Grace was wandering around looking strange. But, thanks to the 4v4 stream was amazing. That was not my work at all. I just cast the games. That was Lucy who hosted that. So, big shout out to him. That was a very, very fun content. And then this Clan War, again, I am just casting it. But, Big JP and Tim the Wilder put a lot of work into getting it together. Strat Game and Lenorm put a lot of work into getting it together on the NC side. And then, of course, to all the players who did step up and get their games done. So big shout out to all those people. I am just here casting the games. So, yeah. Big shout out to all of them. It looks like RTK have another lobby and 3 of the players are there, so I'm going to hop over there. But I do need a spec slot. And I'm going to see what Grace was doing. Grace said hi. She didn't say hi. I might have lied a little bit, but in spirit, she said hi. Okay, there's the lobby. There's a spec slot. Is it happening? My God. Are 2v2 players allowed to give each other units? I don't know, Luigi. I don't know if that's even a mechanic you can do online. Like, I know what you're talking about, the gift unit at the bottom. That would be kind of pog, but I don't know if they literally can. Okay, Iskander answered it. Who would win, Night Runners or Stormtroopers? Night Runners, easy. Mossy, Hyala came out of nowhere to dominate the scene for a hot minute. Mossy, I honestly wouldn't have pegged you to be around back then. That was unexpected. I was kind of looking for some of the boomers like myself to weigh in and be like, I remember the days. But all right, Mossy. Could you explain? Are you talking about stormtroopers from Star Wars? Because I was, and that's what I thought we were talking about. But if you want me to explain, that makes me think that you actually had a real question, and I missed it thinking it was a joke. What's the Skaven win rate? 100%, baby. 100%. Goji's here! Goji! Goji. Night Runners or Stormtroopers? I mean, Stormtroopers, so the clones from the Clone Wars are the best of the best, but like they have accelerated aging. Yeah, you didn't think I've read the books, but I've read the books. So the clones from the Clone Wars have accelerated aging, and by the time they become stormtroopers, they're already biologically in their 50s, right? So that's not going to be great for them. Also, their plasteel armor is mostly light and heat deflective to deal with laser bolts. It's not actually very impact deflective to deal with metal, which is why Mandalorians still use metal arm blades because a lot of futuristic armor in the Star Wars universe is not actually that like impact resistant, and it's made of a type of plastic, so it's less hard than steel, so you can get through it. But steel, see, here's the thing though, why steel went on to style is like if a laser beam hits steel on your chest and melts it, you now have molten metal digging a hole through your chest. So they don't have armor that's metal, but they do use metal blades because it counters the plastic stuff. So I think the Night Runners would be fine getting up there. The Shurikens would be useless. I'll give you that. The Shurikens would be useless, but they'd run up and jump on it with their knives and like fuck them up. And Stormtroopers have like very little close combat weapons. I think they have like a knife, but it's on their belt, so I don't know if they could even get to it. But I think the Night Runners would take some damage on the advance from Stormtroopers shooting at them. Because I'm not going to pretend Skaven are fast enough to dodge a laser. That shit's literally light speed. But once they got into melee, it would be over. Clone troopers are not stormtroopers. A lot of the clone troopers were transferred into stormtroopers, though. There was also like slave stormtroopers and then conscript stormtroopers and just volunteer stormtroopers, but it's still like half the clone army. So 50-50 odds you get one of those like aging old men. And I still don't think their armor's set up for it. You didn't think he read the books, did you? Fucking did you? You didn't think I knew shit about Star Wars. You came in here trying to catch me off guard. I knew, because I was a fan before it sucked. And now it sucks. Then tell me about the legacy of Darth Bane. Okay, I don't know everything, but I did find there was a series of novels by Karen Travis that I read because, like, okay, get ready to hate me because everybody does. The least interesting part of Star Wars is the Jedi. Now, I do have a reason for that. All right, we're in space, and it's a broad universe full of a lot of cool sci-fi stuff. And okay, let's just have swordsmen with magic, and they're always right, and they have a ton of plot armor, and the Jedi are always going to do fine, or at least the named Jedi are, and none of their stories are interesting, and it's stupid. Okay, I can go read fantasy books that do this plot like way better. The Star Wars books just like, in my opinion, don't have very good Jedi stories. And I'm speaking broadly, right? You can point out one or two that are fine, but a lot of the Jedi stories are bad, or like the Jedi is a Deus Ex Machina that shows up, and it's like, well, I can read your mind, so I'm gonna just read your mind, and then I know all these things, and I can move the plot forward, and it's lazy writing in a lot of cases that I've seen. And also, if your name is Skywalker, the whole universe revolves around you for some reason, even though it's like literally a huge universe. So for me, it's just like, I can't get into it because I just can't believe that the whole universe gives a shit about this one family. And it's like, all the Skywalkers are so important. It's not even just one guy named Skywalker. It's like Anakin was important, then Luke was important, and then like Rey Skywalker's a Skywalker now, and Ben Kenobi is kind of a Skywalker because Leia is his mother. And I'm like, okay, but this defeats the point of it being in space. It could just be fantasy, like, oh, it's in a kingdom and their bloodline is like the bloodline of kings. What is the point of reading a space story if it's just going to be a fantasy? Like, it's just it's normal medieval fantasy, but the sword glows. That's all this is when we're talking about the Jedi. Because otherwise, it's magic and swords and bloodlines. That's it. That's it. And it drives me insane. But, like, there was a really interesting series of novels by Karen Travis about the clones. And that was actually, like, when I read a sci-fi story, I want to read sci-fi stuff. And it was, how are you an individual and how can you have individual thought? Or are you capable of individual thought when you are literally the same as 1,999,999 people that you grew up with and live around you and look exactly like you? You are all literally the same. And it's like these people struggling with this identity, or also nature versus nurture, where like different battles they went through, even though they're literally the same. It's like one guy went to a battle where all of his friends died, and the other guy went to a battle where he was a hero and won the whole battle. So one guy has like crazy star power and he's living his best life and he gets tons of promotions. The other guy is like super depressed and has PTSD, but they're like the same guy. That's interesting. Fantasy in space? Fuck that. I could go read a better fantasy book that's like 800 pages long. But you don't have clones in fantasy. You don't have, like, the concept of what it is to be an individual in fantasy. You don't have any of that shit. That's the good shit. The Rogue One movie was amazing, Iskander. It was amazing. And I'm not trying to say Star Wars is bad. I was just making my argument for why I don't think the Jedi and Sith are the most interesting parts of Star Wars to me. I think the other parts of Star Wars are cool. I think flying around in spaceships and getting into gunfights. I thought the Death Star was cool. The concept of blowing up a planet to keep a galactic order in line. That shit's all nuts. But I just specifically, whenever the Jedi are on screen, I kind of snooze. That's just me. Overall, I like the first 6 movies. I like a lot of the shows are pretty good. It's just not a fan of the Jedi specifically. Not trying to yuck your young. Overall, Star Wars is pretty lit. Andor is the best Star Wars meat, is it? Yeah, Mossy, it's so good. Oh, it's so good. Code Tool is all about what you're talking about. Normal people are suffering. Yeah, that's a great game, Skeleton. Yeah. And I'm not trying, like I said, I'm not trying to shit on Star Wars. It was one aspect of Star Wars that doesn't resonate with me. But there's a lot of other things I do like. Otherwise, I wouldn't care about it. You can tell I don't like something if I don't have anything to say on it, where it's just like, yeah, it didn't interest me, so I didn't get into it enough to describe what I don't like. All right, 2v2 is set up. Star Wars rant aside, we have gotten into the game here. So for Gotrek, Starbreaker, and Blags, we're going with the tried and true 2v2 combination of Tomb Kings and Vampire Counts. Vampire Counts can heal other undead. Sorry, Cyrus was distracting me. So the Tomb Kings don't usually have access to Invocation of the Heck, but with Vampire Count Friends, they do. So now all of a sudden your Eyes of the Desert, your Screaming Skull Catapults, your Shafty Great Bows can get healing. For the Tomb Kings, they brought Cetra the Imperishable. Oh, interesting. You usually see Kotipt in 2v2s because his disruption of your cooldowns is twice as effective. But Cetra going to be a decent duelist, decent caster. Chosen of the Gods, other Shafty Great Bows, Eyes of the Desert, so 4 Shafty Great Bows total. And then 3 Screaming Skulls Catapults. We do have a Necromancer, some Corpse Carts. Ooh, the Vampire Count's bringing a bunch of Corpse Carts to buff up the Tomb King stats. Then Blood Knights, Fellbats, Vargeists, a Lich Priest of Light with Net and Shem's Burning Gaze, and Manfred von Karstein on his Hellsteed with Gaze of Nagash, Spirit Leech, Invocation of Heck, and Raised Dead. On the other side, for the Dwarves and High Elves combined, a front line of Dwarf Warriors and Miners of Blasting Charges, some Iron Drakes with their buffs to their lines of sight, going to clear out the undead very effectively. High Elves holding a ton of archers. Just tons and tons of archers. Holy crap. Silver and Guard, Loudon Sea Guard in the back, archers as well. So archers and spears for the High Elves. We have Alariel the Radiant to heal up Dwarves. Another synergy that is pretty good as the Dwarves are not used to being healed ever. As Shem's Burning Gaze and Gaze into Gash are trying to take out these cannons, as the Dwarves brought 2 cannons that are messing up the Ushapti Great Bows. We'll see if they get an Invocation to Heck soon. There's some Bolt Throwers here from Vicious Satsuma, and then Slayers for the other Dwarves. High Elves and Dwarves going with a very intense pike and shot formation, as the undead are trying to do a little bit of artillery kite, things like that. Stalker's going to try and shoot at these blasting charges, get a bit of damage down while the undead skeleton warriors run away. Not wanting to take too much damage. They want to feed zombies into the blasting charges. They don't want the skeleton warriors, the Tomb Kings, to deal with them. And the Scream Skull Catapults are doing all right, but the artillery duel will overall go to the Dwarves if left uncontested, as a Gaze and a Gash goes down the line, hits all 4 cannons, but doesn't kill any of the models. Dwarves with their higher HP, but also critically the 35% spell resist, making sure Gaze and Nagash doesn't instantly kill the artillery models, as they usually do after the patch. Gaze and Nagash is amazing versus artillery, just not Dwarven artillery, which is specifically designed to not take too much damage from spells. Fellbat's doing a great job, along with Direwolves, of trying to stop these cannons, and the damage values are overall very even. Dwarves suffering a bit of fire from the Scream Skull Catapults, but already, 1 Ushapti Great Bow is just about dead. 3 Scream Skull Catapults uncontested as they still fire over the top. And now the Dwarves are advancing up the front line. Those blasting charges getting to work on the zombies. And the Iron Drakes firing into the blobbed up mobs of skeleton warriors and dogs. Though unfortunately for them, there are some minor blasting charges very, very scattered throughout here. It's almost impossible to avoid true friendly fire. So the Dwarves might have to rely on the High Elves. Their more accurate arrows can clear out that chunk a lot easier than dealing with their miners. Cannons are routing. Though this one has plenty of HP, they should be able to rally and come back. The other cannon might be too wounded to really get away. Oh, and there's Black Knights with lances and barding on this back area. I don't know if one Illyrian Reaver Archer of Achilles can really peel and save those cannons from those Black Knights and dogs, but the Black Knights are actually just going to opt into a fight next to Slayers and Silver and Guard. I think this is a little over-eager from Gotrek. He is getting a great charge on the Illyrian Reavers, but if he stays in that fight for too long, he will end up regretting it. So far, the double undead are doing very well, but their front line has taken a beating. That is what's going well for the Order Tide here. So eventually, the Order Tide can start pushing forward and really forcing the undead on the back foot. The undead can kite quite a lot, especially the Tomb Kings can, but I do worry about their ammunition. Tomb Kings tend to run out of ammunition even when kiting one faction, but when you're kiting 2, I don't know if they'll really have the gusto to kill everything on the map before they get stuck just fighting High Elves and Dwarves in the late game. Alariel is still around, still providing some slow heals for her faction. Can they hold? Balance of power is dead even. So is damage value? No, damage value is 1,000 in favor of the undead. But again, in a 2v2, 1,000 is not a lot. The undead have lost 1,500 troops, while the Dwarves and High Elves have only lost 600, and that is more of what I'm worried about. Balance of power is fine, because all your expensive units are still chilling, but how long will that be the case without anyone to defend you as the Dwarves are coming through? Charging forward with some High Elves as well. If the Scream Skull Catapults get compromised, they can't kite. Not as much as the Ushapti can. So eventually you will catch up to them as the Dwarves. L'Oreal uses a Star of Avalorn on herself and the Iron Drakes to try and punish Manfred while he's on the ground. And that's a Dragon Slayer. I saw the star and I was like, it's a L'Oreal. That is a Dragon Slayer in there. Demon Slayer. Getting healed up right now while he's trying to punish Manfred. Surprisingly, he hasn't gotten like a single hit onto Manfred. Because if he had, you would know. 500 weapon strength and Manfred's just chilling. So somehow Manfred got out of there. Very lucky to be alive. Some Blood Knights are getting beat up on the backfield. Dwarven backline is getting torn apart by those Black Knights, Lances, and Barding we mentioned before. Did take a lot of damage fighting Slayers, but also dogs chasing all these guys off. But Revenge of the Dwarves, they have gotten to the Screaming Skull Catapults. That will be 3 relatively expensive units getting taken offline rather quickly. Ushapti Summon is out from the Tomb Kings as well. A temporary gain on the balance of power as Gotrek and Boags try and hold it down. 8,400 versus about 8,200. The Dwarves and High Elves have caught up on damage value, which should be very concerning for the forces of the Undead. Blood Knights taking a lot of damage as they start to run away. And the High Elves still have some archers. There's a lot of Iron Drakes left. And a L'Oreal is stuck fighting Manfred. And it is a L'Oreal this time, for real. Manfred does have better combat stats than her, though not by much. I honestly would have assumed it had been a lot more. But L'Oreal is a High Elf, and High Elves are rather good at that whole stat department. You can see the concern I had is coming to fruition over here. These Ushapti are kiting around, and while they're kiting well, they're running out of ammo. And that's the biggest concern. As there's just so many Dwarf and High Elf bodies left to kill off. I don't know if they even have the DPS to do it. All the Screaming Skull Catapults are down. Necromancers and Corpse Carts holding, but they are buffing no one but themselves. There's no infantry left to keep them alive. Blood Knights stuck fighting a bunch of Slayers. Backing off again, but that Demon Slayer is full HP as L'Oreal keeps healing him up. Cetra doesn't even know where to begin to fight. And the Tomb Kings are just in mass retreat. You have a sudden lag spike, but it seems to be doing okay. The real lag spikes you have to worry about is when you have no lag, and then suddenly the game, like, freezes. But as long as it's still moving forward, we might be okay. Necromancer and the other Corpse Cart now getting the attentions of some archers, and the archers are probably the easiest way to damage those guys. In melee, Corpse Carts are strangely tanky. Not that they shouldn't be, but I can't figure out why they are. They only have 27 melee defense, but it just feels like they never take damage in melee. But archers mess them up. They mess them up real good. Cetra, probably the best duelist on the map, including the Demon Slayer, but he is just one man as he plows into some spearmen trying to hunt down a L'Oreal. Achilles gets away there, peeling for himself. Achilles, he was a Rome player, right? Any RTK lore people? Because that might be why he's playing High Elves, is you're pretty much just playing Rome again. Pike and shot with some horsemen. Achilles play into his comfort zone. Blood Knights pushed away. Killed off, chosen of the gods, almost out of ammo, so they can't even kite that much more to begin with. The Ushapti, they'll do a little bit of damage, but they're not good at clearing out infantry. It's just the chosen of the gods that can do that. And it's looking all over. Satsuma and Achilles have pulled 3,000 ahead on damage value. They have a lot more presence on the map. Their lords are fine. They still have plenty of healing. They have a lot of infantry. You can see now what I was talking about. All of a sudden, the Corpse Cart goes from full health to, like, dead as archers and blasting charges focus fire on it. And insult to injury is honestly that was risky to do in your own Northern Sea Guard, but really wanted to kill off those Corpse Carts with the blasting charges, I suppose. Gaze and Nagash does huge damage to the Silver Guard! And Silver Guard have 30% spell resist! Jesus! Welcome to the meta wind spells. Not that it's going to save the undead at this point. 6 volleys on Ushapti, 1 on the Chosen of the Gods, 5 on the Sprokle Stalkers. Manfred's low, everybody's low. Achilles is a Napoleon player primarily. Then why isn't he playing Empire? Why do you have Tim the Wilder playing Empire? Get Achilles on Empire. Jesus Christ. Amateurs! Amateurs! No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. But I told you, didn't I? RTK is pretty good at them 2v2s, guys. They're pretty good at them. At this point, I do think the undead are out of it. They're putting up an admirable fight, but, like, just looking around the map, I don't know what clears all this infantry. It wasn't about hitting the corpse cart, that was about hitting elves with blasting charges. Oh, it's true. Some classic Dwarven betrayal. Some classic Dwarven betrayal. I'm just catching up to chat. 40k kind of the same problem with the whole medieval fantasy with the sci-fi skin thing. Oh, another just brutal gaze in the gash from Gotrek. Shem's Burning Gaze also trying to go down the line. So doing some good work with the newly buffed projectile spells. Have I ever told you the tale of dark play is the wise? You haven't, but others have. Sorry, I was just catching up on chat. I have been very behind. Okay. Iron Drakes, everybody shooting at Cetra and Manfred. They are the last vestiges of undead power. Because everything else they have, that's a zombie summon, so it's not real. We have a Sporkle Stalker over here. And then the Slayers and High Elves team up to surround whatever that Ushapti was over there that just died. That's it. Cetra running around, taking some damage as army losses. Finally comes to claim the lives of the undead for the second time. What's up? You shaking the stink? Okay. Grace is going for a walk, everybody. That is that. And RTK pretty much evens this up. 2v2s are worth 1.5 points, so it is 2.5. And that is it for the Clan War. It's over. It's done, ladies and gentlemen. We just cast the whole thing. NC wins, baby. 3 to 2.5. We fucking did it. Legends in the making. That's a meme. Don't leave. It's all over. It's definitely done. Turning the stream off now. Wow, the Slayer's got really good value. Anyway, NC done did it. We can all go home. Don't go home. There's still a lot more. Just glancing through anything that really stands out, but it was just a really stalwart front formation from the High Elves and Dwarves. Good front line, kept most of their archers online, ground the undead down into the dust. While the undead tried to kite, they just couldn't do as much as they wanted. The Ushapti Great Bows are good at picking off like single entities, but there weren't a lot of single entities. There was just mass infantry. So that's GG. I shouldn't need a blocker for the rest of the stream. Because, no spoilers, it's a clan where all the games will get played no matter what the score is. But it's going to be non-stop action for the rest of this because we have replays for the rest of them. These are stuff for people that couldn't play live today. Alright. So this is RTK taking Grand Cathay versus Lenorm on the Lizardmen. Yes. I just have RTK Fistful listed. So I don't know his full name, and I was answering a question while we were in the loading screen. And his name in the loading screen was just Dark Age Rush regardless. I have not seen any of these games. I actually don't know the result of these games. How's this beautiful day going for me? It's going great. For Lenorm and the Lizardmen, we have an Ancient Salamander, a Life Slan, and then some Skink Skirmishers, Skink Cohorts, and Skink Cohorts with Javelins moving up, a bunch of Ripperdactyl Riders, and a bunch of Feral Cold Ones. This is a very meta Lizardmen build, but after all of the nerfs to several of the units being taken here, I wonder if it's still good. For RTK and Grand Cathay, Peasant Long Spears, Peasant Archers, Iron Hail Gunners, Zaytang, Zhao Ming, and then the Emperor's Crowman with some Jade Lancers to back them up. Just both sides going by the book. No silly shenanigans here, just taking good, strong builds. Luigi, probably. In hindsight, it's probably better to hit the infantry. Zaytang is not shooting at the Ancient Salamander or the Slan because they're both downhill and through some trees, so it's pretty hard for him to see them. Now he is turning and he's going to fire. We'll see if he can actually get some shots off. Lizardmen are just setting up a surround. Yeah, he hits the Ancient Salamander. Lizardmen are just getting a surround right now. There's not too terribly much going on. Some skink cohorts trying to probe the defenses for some weaknesses. Ripperdactyl Riders trying to dive in for a bit of a shot, but then Iron Hail Gunners quickly dissuade them from that course of action, and they run away as Feral Cold Ones dive in as well. Zaytang still firing at the Ancient Salamander, doing good, and Lizardmen are moving up on this side, but I worry they have too much kite. Like, too much low-range skink skirmishers versus Grand Cathay who just want to box and beat the crap out of you. So your kite's going to have a hard time getting a lot of damage out is what I worry. As Zaytang continues to try and snipe out the Ancient Sally. The Slan is moving up. Does he have Dwellers? He does have Dwellers below. That could help out with some infantry clearing. As the Ripperdactyls get very little done and then get pushed away by Iron Hail Gunners, who do miss a lot of their shots, thankfully for the Ripperdactyls. This Grand Cathay front line is not buckling. Feral Cold Ones get rampaged to their death. Looks like Ripperdactyl Riders are going to follow them. Even for the notoriously elusive Ripperdactyls, I don't see them getting out of this type of surround. Taking a lot of damage. There's spears. There's Emperor's Crowman all over. It's going to be pretty tough. But the Slan is finally weighing in. Good banishment on the Iron Hail Gunners. And does it use the Dwellers anywhere on this big old blob of stuff just to try and help get through? Not sure. The Skinks are piling up. Ripperdactyl Riders trying to get through. Zaytang is still just free-firing away, poking down that Ancient Salamander. Some Skinks get through the front line to harass Peasant Archers just a little bit. But already we've lost a Ripperdactyl Rider. Cathay is pulling ahead on the balance of power. And another shot out. Missing the Ancient Salamander for once. Lizardmen do find their way onto some of the ranged units of Cathay. These Jade Lancers still try and peel them off, but these Skink Skirmishers not able to get in here and really mess some things up and chase things around. They're just kind of kiting on the sides, which is a bit brutal. Clawstone Hunters Toad Rage was rampaging them for a hot second. Now they are getting shot at by Iron Hails at point-blank range, which again, their teeny tiny little Velociraptor bodies keep them safe, but they'll still take damage. And if they run, they'll get shot and hit with the Onyx Crowman. If they stay and fight the Crowman, they'll get shot by these guys. And if they fight these guys, they'll land in spears. So it's a pretty lose-lose-lose situation for the Clawstone Hunters. Skink Skirmishers all pushed away by a brutal Jade Lancer charge and Zhao Ming diving in. I don't see the killing power here for the Lizardmen. Zaytang's still up. Full health, over half ammunition. Ready to mess some fools up. He hasn't been shooting at the Slan, but I think the Slan still has pretty scary missile resist, doesn't he? Yeah, 40% missile resistance. It'll be worth it to shoot at him once the Ancient Salamander's gone, but I can understand wanting to shoot the Salamander first. Iron Hails will get dove on. Now those Peasant Long Spears are not in position to punish this dive, so Ripperdactyls will tear apart the Iron Hail Gunners and try and get out to safety shortly after that. Ancient Salamander still alive, barely. Firing in, barely. But Cathay, man, look at their health bars. They don't care. They haven't suffered anything. Still a bunch of full health infantry, full health Zaytang, full health Zhao Ming. Lizardmen are just blinking health bars. They have a full health Slan, random full health Feral Cold One, and everything else is quite damaged. Yeah. Looks like Zaytang is actually going to start shooting at some Ripperdactyls, interestingly enough. Zhao Ming was thinking about chasing the Slan Mage Priest of Life, then goes against it, decides to come back here. Feral Cold One at half HP, but is rampaging into Jade Warriors right now. They'll do fine versus the Jade Warriors, though I don't know if they really want to stay in any kind of fight for right now. Zaytang more than happy to use his ammunition to take out Ripperdactyl models and make it so the Slan has nothing to heal. And then maybe get the Slan in the late game to just sit in infantry and die. I suppose is probably his thought. I mean, Zaytang is doing good damage as Rippers. 1,700 damage value. Not crazy, but he has been the constant pressure that they needed. It's mostly just their front line schooling the Lizardmen super hard. Look at Zaytang go. He's just poking and prodding at him. Not a care in the world. The power of the Watcher. Why did that feel like it did literally 0 damage? Like, I saw a model fall out of the sky. He killed something, but did it have, like, 1 HP? Because it didn't do nothing. Slann tries to keep his Ripperdactyls in the fight with the Shield the Old One's leadership buff. He hasn't even felt like he's gotten that much healing out, unfortunately. The Slann's just been a non-factor in this whole game. So I think that's it. RTK gonna take a lead. Zaytang, with 11 shots left, finally decides, I'll shoot at the frog. Bye, Art Splash. The model hit was probably almost dead. Yeah. Yep. Just stops it on that. Alright. Good win from RTK. As we load up the next one. Borgash versus Captain Tealis. Greenskins versus Slaanesh. Alright, Slaanesh versus the Greenskins. The Greenskins going with 5 skirmish cavalry, mostly Goblin, Wolf Rider, Archers, though we do have the Death Creepers ROR, and then of course Morgoth's Magi Marauders ROR. And then a big old pile of Orcs. Oh, and Goblin Fanatics. I thought those were someone else. Daypeak Loons, Crimson Killers, 2 Orc Boys, double Rogue Idol, Azhag the Slaughterer, and the Swamp Things. On the side of Captain Tealis and Slaanesh, we do have Pavane of Slaanesh the Rampage, which is currently drawing a Goblin Wolf Raider into its death. 4 Marauder Horsemen, a Chaos Knight of Slaanesh, and then Devoted Marauders and Chaos Warriors with Hell Scourges, including a Chosen and the Bringers of Beguilement. And of course, Azazel. Can they break the Greenskin Uberblob? How do RTK have 2.5 wins? A 2v2 is worth 1.5. Ah, NP beat me to it. Goblin Wolf Raider Archers trying to get away from the Chaos Knights of Slaanesh. They are much, much faster, so they should get out of there just fine. Anybody remember Human Boy used to stream? Dude, he never streamed. We've established this. The Blob is moving forward, and a really good Rampage by Slaanesh picked off 1 Goblin Wolf Raider, but, like, it is 1 Goblin Wolf Raider. Let's all calm down. I mean, it's 400 gold. It's essentially fast chaff. It's still a good pick, but it's also not like, oh god, Big G. I don't know why I was thinking Big JP. This is Borgash. Borgash is in big trouble, guys. He lost a Goblin Wolf Raider. What are we gonna do? Marauder Horseman still trying to kite around. The Rogue Idols might be tough to deal with here. 150 armor, some missile resistance, and they can clean up all of these infantry if they're given the time to do so. So I guess your only real damage against them is the Marauder Horseman, but that's so rough. Goblin Wolf Raider still trading with the Skirmish Cav of Chaos. Looks like they're going to try and fall back to the Blob now as the Chaos Knights of Slaanesh try and get something going. But they have overextended. They're about to get Fate of Bunad by Azhag, and they get caught in melee. The Rogue Idols even get a couple claps out of them. That could just be the end of the Chaos Knights. Bit of a whoopsie there from Slaanesh. Though this, like, looking at this, this might just be build diff. I don't know. If Slaanesh loses, I'll eat my words, but this... Wait, no, sorry. If Slaanesh wins, I'll eat my words, but this just looks so brutal from the Greenskins versus what Slaanesh brought. Maybe I'd have to look at the Slaanesh roster and figure out what you can do, but this just looks so brutal. They don't have halberds for infantry, so they can't even just take infantry that would beat up on the Rogue Idol. They don't have good blob punishment spells. They have Pit of Shades if they took a Shadows caster, but that's it. They don't have good anti-large cavalry that can really kill the Rogue Idol, so this is just rough. Catch another Skirmish Cav, but again, Borgash is just sitting here with this Greenskin Blob like, cool, dude. Cool, keep picking off my worthless Skirmish Cav as long as you want, but eventually, you're gonna have to come here, and it's gonna suck for you. Hashtag give Slaanesh Traderkin. Slaanesh does need better AoE single target damage dealing spells. That would solve a lot of their blob problems. I'm in a ×2 speed through this phase. As we've gotten the gist, it is the blob walking around trying to find a fight and Slaanesh walking around trying to avoid the blob. We get it. I can play it at ×2 speed. Dun, 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 dun. Death Creepers rampaged and killed as we've seen several times before. The Slaanesh Marauders think about playing the game, but then they decide against it. Chaos Warriors finally getting attacked. It's the Crimson Killers, Swamp Things, and now the Rogue Idols are going to pile into these guys. The 8-peak Loons even throw out some spinning Loons. Skirmish Cav, Captain Teal is still doing their best. They are aiming at the Swamp Things, which are, targets you can actually do decent damage to. With only 40 armor. Some missile resist, but only 40 armor. Maybe if you can route them, then all of the mobility of Slaanesh can chase them down. Is the thinking, but Azazel's also taking actually pretty solid damage, which is very worrying if you're a Slaanesh. And the Rogue Idols come over here to clap on the Chosen. Bonk. A little bit of damage. Not as much as you would like, but a little bit. Spirit Leeches have started from Azhag onto Azazel. Try and get rid of him. Swamp Things did route, as we mentioned before, and all the Greenskin Skirmish Cav is gone. So Slaanesh should be able to chase those down without much issue. Get some army passive, but also just get them out of the field of battle. Rogue Idols are literally unbreakable? No, they're constructs, but they're pretty much unbreakable. They also give leadership map-wide, but you do give leadership. And Azhag gives leadership. He gives Sliga Slash's leadership and Get On With It leadership. So everything around here has so many leadership buffs, it's actually kind of insane. Inspired by ability, plus 16. Lord Nearby, plus 3. And then, yeah. So they just have a constant plus 16 leadership from Spirit of Mork and then Azhag's two things. Azazel lands in. He does terror out off one Orc Boy. The 8-peak Loons are also literally unbreakable, which makes this significantly harder. And I guess the Exalted Demonettes of Slaanesh, those guys actually could do good work on the Rogue Idols. Yeah, they could. Wait, I've seen that happen. Okay, this is fine. Marauder Horsemen of Slaanesh abandon their pursuit of the River Trolls, leaving that to the Bringers of Beguilement instead, coming back to the fight to do I don't know what. But Azazel is overstaying his welcome. He's taken so much damage from Spirit Leeches and I guess the occasional poke from a Rogue Idol. Crimson Killers are fine on leadership. The second Orc Boy is fine for now, and the 8-peak Loons unbreakable, literally going nowhere as Azazel takes another punch straight to the face. One of the Rogue Idols is half HP. It's better than I would have expected out of the Skirmish Cav, but still not going to be enough as they're running very low on ammunition. Should have called it Spirit of Gork and paid me royalties. I think that's why they didn't, is they didn't want to pay you royalties. Going out on a limb here. I am very curious what the Bringers of Beguilement can do if they can get into this fight, but other than that, this is looking pretty joker. Skirmish Cav still poking down the Rogue Idol. 2 volleys, 3 volleys, 8 volleys, but almost dead. No volleys. Azazel dives onto Azhag. I haven't seen him cast a Pavane in a while. I wonder if... Well, there's no one to really rampage, is there? He's going to just hit the Crimson Killers and try and do some damage to them, I guess. But it's not like if he rampages them, it'll drag them out of formation, because they'll just be fighting shit they're already fighting. Azazel seems committed to this fight. He realizes it's his last dance. He does start Demonic Instability crumbling, but he got some decent poke on Azhag. 2 leadership for him for now. But Spirit Leech will take him out. I wonder if he is intentionally just fighting to the end, knowing that Spirit Leech will kill him, so might as well get some value while he can. But those Bringers of Beguilement are in. Swarming onto the Crimson Killers, get really good damage on the charge. Now the Rogue Idol is rampaging as he gets down to that low HP point that just starts that from going up. But man, look at the Bringers of Beguilement taking a bunch of damage. They are dealing a lot, but they're also taking a lot. And without Azazel around for his leadership debuff from the Demon Blade, these Crimson Killers and Orc Boys are so close to routing, but there's not that extra oomph to really get them to go. Looks like the Slaaneshis are just going to have to kill them the old-fashioned way, and they do, to be fair. They are tearing through the Crimson Killers. Go, Bringers of Beguilement, go! My God! Only 500 damage value for them so far, but it's still going pretty okay. Better than I would have thought. Crimson Killers are out. 8 Peak Loons are nearly dead. It is just the 3 single entities for the Greenskins versus all these Slaneshis. But if the Brigades of Galman die, there goes your armor piercing. So they do need to, you know, somehow stay in it to win it. Got to kill off one of these Rogue Idols somehow. And Azhag is also getting down to half HP. So not low, but like, you know, he's not exactly doing amazing. For Slaanesh, we still have some Skirmish Cav that routed because Azazel died. Oh, are those guys seriously going to take 6 ammo with them off the map? That is really brutal for Slaanesh if it is true. As this other Rogue Idol is about to die. They're going to take down one of the 2 hulking giants, but that you cowardly marauder, fuck! You get back here! Ah, you abandoned Captain Telos in his time of need. Rogue Idol is starting to crumble now. How are the Bringers of Galman doing on HP? They're doing okay. They have 900 value as they get clapped. Azhag's getting low. Rogue Idol still 2/3 HP. There's nothing else on the map for the Greenskins. Spirit Leech onto the Bringers of Galman. Azhag desperately trying to take them out while he still can. 2 models left for the 8 Peak Loons, 41 HP. And these Marauder Horsemen, the ones that didn't abandon Slash in his time of need. 1 volley left on them. The Bringers of Galman are getting very low. Chaos Warriors and Votive Marauders of Slash also getting very low. The Rogue Idol is taking damage. He's got 10,000 HP left. Can anyone kill him? Can anyone kill Azhag? Balance of power is against Slaanesh by a little bit, but it's holding on for now. British Battlement look like they got attack orders onto Azhag now. They just kind of seem to be moseying more around him. If you select their models, they seem to be in this area more than anywhere else. Another Spirit Leech is out, but this one doesn't hit the Bringers. It does hit the Bringers. So good target priority there. Bringers getting real close to that Demonic Instability crumbling point, but they've done so much damage to Azhag. Big charge in from the Skirmish Cav. Body slam onto the Bringers' Beguilement. Rogue Idol's taking about 1,000 HP damage since we looked at him, but it looks like most people are trying to take out Azhag, who is getting poked here and there. But it's not mattering just yet. I mean, if you take him out, it's not like the Rogue Idol will break or anything, but it would be nice to lower his leadership a bit so you can get to that crumbling point faster, and also you can just stop Spirit Leeches onto you. As the Bringers continue to try and beat up on Azhag, his leadership is so low now. He's at 7. He's at 5. 2. He breaks. Azhag breaks. Some of the Slaneshis are going to try and chase him down. The other ones are going to deal with the Rogue Idol. 9,000 HP left on that bad boy. Looks like Slaanesh. The Bringers of Beguilement don't want to disengage. They're worried that if they turn their back on him, they will just break. They're going to break anyway, but they wanted to get a little bit more damage onto the Rogue Idol, who's down to 8,000 HP. One Devoted Marauder is peeling off to chase down Azhag, make sure he doesn't come back. The other ones are all recommitting to fight, and the Bringers somehow rally at 1 model left, 42 HP. It is there, technically. That is a big old technically. Can the Rogue Idol do it? Can he clear all these infantry? 8,000 HP and dropping. He's surrounded by... There's still Chosen in here? There's still a Chosen in here. Not a lot of a Chosen, but a Chosen. A Chaos Warrior and a Chosen. Azhag's getting run down by the Devoted Marauders. Marauder Horsemen and Slaanesh also opt in to help out just a little bit. And now the Marauders are leaving it to the Horsemen to deal with this. I would be a little scared of them randomly breaking, or Azhag deciding he's enough balance of power to just come back regardless and kick their ass. 700 HP for the Greenskin Lord, however. Rogue Idol down to 7,000. This is actually a game. I so thought the Greenskins were just going to roll this with their build. Azhag down to 600 HP. Rogue Idol still trying to clap his way out of a bad situation. Is he still fighting Chosen? Yeah, he got the Chosen to break at least. Man, can you imagine if that other Marauder Horseman with 6 volleys left hadn't left? That would be like 1,000 HP off the Rogue Idol just because of volume of fire. As he continues to clap, the Votive Marauders thinking about routing yet again. Chaos Warriors trying to hold it down as the Horsemen continue to chase Azhag. Azhag down to 99 HP. They really got to get that guy off the map. There we go. Because now the Marauder Horsemen come over here, maybe get like a Valiant Charge that could do good impact damage to the Rogue Idol, but also they're just getting him that much closer to Crumbling. Because Crumbling will do so much work for them, considering how long it takes them. But look at that! That charge animation he just did through all of them did so much impact damage. It's making him think about routing. There goes the Marauders leaving the Chaos Warriors all alone. The Chaos Warriors take a big old fist to the face. Balance power shifts heavily in the favor of the Greenskins. 5,000 HP left on the Rogue Idol. This man won't stop. He won't quit. And that might be army losses as he breaks the Chaos Warriors. That will cause a cycle rout from these other guys. And that is GG. Rogue Idol wins it. As there's no shot the Marauder Horsemen hold long enough for anything to rally, so that is just it. What charges the Slanesh ability? Killing models while their leadership is negative. Hi, Zero. How you doing? That was actually kind of a crazy game. As crazy as blob games ever get. I'm generally not a blob enjoyer, but that was about as exciting as a blob's ever gonna get. That was fucking nuts. Well played to Captain Telis, well played, but Borgash coming in with the strats. Had a build in mind. So I'll delete these two games. We now have Stead on the Greenskins versus RTK's Curio on the Beastmen. And I do need to give RTK their point. Pull further ahead to 4.5. The magic number, remember, the magic number is 7.5. If you get to 7.5, you have over half, because with 3 2v2s and 10 1v1s, the total amount of points is 14.5. Each 2v2 is worth 1.5. Ladies and gentlemen, I do have an emergency. I have to stop the stream right now and make the camera bigger and then turn the camera slightly down. It's a kitty cat! Look at him! Look at this boy! Look at the boy! Oh, he's so good! He's so precious! He's so special! Look at the boy! It's the boy. It's the moo cow. A 13 or 14-year-old cat. It's the boy. Oh God, Hazel's jealous. Here comes the dog. It is the dog. And it's the cat. And it's the dog. Hi, dog. Alright, buddy. It's good to see you, but I'm going to focus on casting and not on scritching you. So you've gotten your moment in the spotlight. And it's over now. I will scritch you, but you're just not going to be the focus of my life. Let's get back into it. Greenskins versus Beastmen. It is Stead, so NC is the Greenskin versus RTK's Beastmen. For the Greenskins, we have nerfed Orc Boarboy Biggins, just got a cost increase. Nerfed Squigherds, which also got a cost increase. Some Stone Trolls, and Goblins with Orc Arboys to back them up. Giant River Troll Hag with only Fate of Buna, and Night Goblin War Boss with his Rampage and his Net. On the other side, for the Beastmen, we have Centaurs with Throwing Axes, Centaurs regular, 2 Manticores, Great Bray Shaman of Death with Doom and Darkness, and then Spirit Leech. Razor Gore Herds, Centaurs with Throwing Axes, 2 Ungor Raiders, and then a bunch more Ungor Herds with some Centaurs. John B. Alright. Fermented Fungi is out, drawing these skirmish Centaurs into a melee they will surely lose. Orc Boarboy Biggins, Squig Herds, Goblins, everybody piling in, but the Beastmen are also down to fight. Jumping in, is that a Doom and Darkness Overcast? It is! Trying to get rid of the Goblins and these Orc Boarboy Biggins who are taking insane damage on the charge. And could this trap for the Greenskins actually turn into a disaster? Goblins are terror routing, so are the Orc Boarboy Biggins, and the Beastmen all of a sudden taking over this little fight, as Night Goblin Warboss is also committed to the battle, but he is alone. On the far side, Orc Boarboy Biggins getting torn apart by Razor Gore Herds and Centaurs, Throwing Axes hitting them in the back, and the left flank is a disaster for the Greenskins. They are out. The right flank is going fine. The front line is going fine for them. Even good. I won't just say fine. It is going well. But that left flank is a problem. A hole they're going to have to plug. And to try and do that, they are moving forward their Orc Boarboy Biggins and Swamp Things to this area to try and help out. A Fate of Buna onto one of the Centaurs. They really are just trying to stop the bleeding right now. Get the Beastmen to think twice before really pushing through this left flank that's falling apart. Squig Herds rampaging into Spears and a Manticore. Need to be bailed out by the Swamp Things who come running in. Their Terror plus their Mass should be pretty good at getting rid of these guys. Mass gets rid of the Manticore, Terror gets rid of the younger Spearman herds, and these Squig herds have some time to rally. Meanwhile, like I said, that frontline fight was going well for the Greenskins. They've gotten through. Goblins, Squigs, Stone Trolls, crushing through some of these Ungors, and the first Wa is out. Orc Borbobiggins fighting Centaurs, and it is a very much losing fight. Centaurs got some buffs just from... CA said they fixed some animations on them, but ever since then, Centaurs, which were already a good unit, have felt kind of amazing. So they are well out trading the Orc Borbobiggins when they're outnumbering them 2-1 or 3-1 in some of these fights. Fermented Fungi drawing these Centaurs throwing axes down into a losing fight that already their Centaur friends are leaving just as they get charged in. Again, by Rampage. It's not like Curio chose to do that, but it did happen to him. Greenskins finally getting some presence on this right side, where they had lost a lot earlier. On the backfield, they still have one healthy Orc Borbobiggin, and they're trying to keep some of these Orc Aura boys online. Greenskins are up on the balance of power, and I would agree that this game is not quite over. Tormentor Sword locks the Feral Manticore and the Centaurs throwing axes in place, though the Terror Route is already in for the Orc Borbobiggins, so they can't follow up on the Centaurs like they wanted to. Manticore might get pushed away here soon. The archers are gone. Centaur's still trying to rally and hound these guys in the back. If they can take out this last healthy Orc Borbobiggin, the Beastmen can maybe clutch this game back, because all they need is uncontested mobile dominance. And look at this big surround in from Curio. This is just beautiful stuff. Taking out the last mobility of his opponent. Now there are still technically Borbobiggins on the field, but I'm saying they're also injured. It's not going to matter. If you can dominate the mobile space, then you can kind of try to pick off the Greenskins one by one by one. Wherever they aren't clumped up together, you can take them out and chase them off the map and really claw their way back into their game. This is beautiful stuff by Curio from behind. Because, like, Beastmen aren't an easy faction, but it is much easier to play any faction from ahead than behind, so to claw your way back into the game like this is just beautiful stuff. It's really good play. I couldn't compliment enough. He just did everything like perfectly that he needed to do after a bit of a rough start on the front line. So everything in this backfield is going to rout except for maybe this Goblin. The Greenskins are now rallying for Stead. They're coming over, and the Beastmen, you're going to see they're just going to disperse. And this is why they really needed to kill that Orc Borbobiggin, is they need the space to work. And now they can run down all of these Orc Aura boys, Goblins, kill them off, make sure they can't come back in any fashion, while occasionally throwing Spirit Leeches or something down on these guys. It looks like they are going to try and get some charges in. I don't think they'll commit to a fight. They're probably going to cycle charge, because I don't see why they would. Why would you bother? You have so much value on the map to pick up right now for free. Why would you bother? Yeah, you popped the wall. Get out, get out, get out. Beastmen need to back off. They popped a wall for free, and now they can go clean up all these other guys while the wall wears off. It looks like they're committing. I think this is unnecessarily risky, but he's going for it. Wah gives the Greenskins ITP, in spite of the Baboon, also giving him bonus versus large. If the Manticore rampages, he's going to stay in here forever. But we're still getting a lot of Terror routes out, and the Greenskins are routing. We have Stone Trolls, we have the Swamp Things who are very healthy, River Troll Hag as well, and a Fate of Buna hits the Centaurs with throwing axes. Might delete them entirely, as it's not even halfway done being cast yet, and it still almost killed them. I get the temptation, because the Beastmen had a good surround there, and they wanted to route more Greenskins, but they gotta, like... They had to cash in on their first win, because now you can see these Orc Aura boys and Goblins have come back, and they have to route them again. It's like they needed to take those guys all the way off the map, then come back for this big surround. So I think Curio got a little greedy there, and did get punished for it, and now the Beastmen are again on the back foot. Now these are Trolls. The Greenskin strength right now is in Trolls. The Swamp Things are ITP because they cause terror, but the Stone Trolls, the River Troll Hag, even the Goblin Warboss do not have the best leadership. If there is a surround, if there is a big bomb with a Doom and Darkness Overcast, that is the last hope for the Beastmen in this game. So they're not out yet, but they are against the ropes as Stone Trolls and the River Troll Hags trying to get over here, trying to catch the Centaurs and the Manticore. Not able to do it. And Curio, once again, back to the basics of chasing down everything he routed before. Back to what brought him back in this game. Is the damage counter supposed to be visible? It is for live games, not for replays. How do Centaurs do against Orc Borboys? Very well. If you met Orc Borbobiggins, it's about even, though the Orc Borbobiggins are more expensive, so that's still a good trade for Centaurs. Here it comes. It looks like Curio is going for that leadership nuke we talked about now. All of his chips are down. He didn't finish killing some of these goblins, but they're all so low they won't matter in this game. I think he effectively chased them down. I think he did fine. So here he goes. Does he have the Overcast Doom and Darkness, and does it matter? Manticores are diving in, all the Centaurs going in. This is what he can do, and that looks like, is it the Doom and Darkness? Overcast, it is. He's doing everything he can. This is the final hope of the Beastmen, and it appears to be working as even the Swamp Things are going to rout. The terror-resistant trolls, 3 leadership, 6 leadership, it's somehow climbing. They were negative for a bit, but they didn't actually go down. The Stone Trolls have routed, the Goblins have routed, but the Swamp Things held, and that is going to be critical, because if they had routed, it would have been literally just the 2 single entities of the Greenskins left, but the Swamp Things holding on, and if the Doom and Darkness wears off and they're still here, their mass and their terror will be enough to win this game. Archers trying to fire, but they somehow ended up in a bit of the melee. The Beastmen are now the ones terror routing off, and a giant Vertral Hag keeping the Swamp Things in it. Doom and Darkness has worn off, and I believe that is also the chances of the Beastmen wearing off. God damn. This was a really good game. I didn't sing the praises of the Greenskins a lot, and they did win it, so like they did stuff great. They punished the frontline fight really well. They bailed out a losing matchup on their left-hand side at the very start of the game. Like, everything was going to shit where my mouse is circling, and they rallied some troops from the right side. Because what they realized, I do want to talk about this, so I'm going to pause the game because it's about to end. I like that a lot. So what we saw at the start of the game, right? You have your front line. Boop. Front line was there. And then this went to shit. Now me, and I think 90% of players would take the Orc Barbarians that were here and run them around to the back line and mess up all these archers. What I think Stead did that was really good, and well, I'm doing this because, one, it's cool and I want to talk about it, and 2, because I feel like I sung a lot of Curio's praises, but he's losing, and you might be like, well, then how did Stead win? So instead of doing what I and most people would do, running around back here to get to those archers, Stead seemed to realize that his front line was going to win anyway, and a lot quicker than I would have guessed. So his front line is going to go get the archers. His cav aren't actually needed there. So he brought his cav over, way over-indexed into this area, and turned the only strength the Beastmen are having, because they're losing the front line, and they had nothing over here. So the only point of strength they had was right here. Well, Stead committed a bunch more cav resources, stalled this out, and while he still lost it, he didn't let it expand. He didn't let the Beastmen get behind him and start rear-charging his goblins and trolls and getting them to rout off the map. Like, he stabilized this position, his front line got to the archers anyway, and he put the Beastmen on the back foot. Now, as I said, Curio pretty much scrapped back into this game, and the entire game came down to whether or not the Swamp Things held. They did by 3 leadership, instead won. But it was a very close game, and I think both players actually just did fantastically. That was beautiful shit. But I do maintain, if Curio had gotten the Swamp Things to rout, I think he would have won. So that game came down to 3 leadership. Beautiful stuff. Trolls got good value. Swamp Things, the River Troll Hag did pretty well. Our boys did all right. Squigs did well. Goblins did well. GG. This breakdown makes me miss the Gobbo King. I never got to watch Gobbo King's content, but I've heard people say nice things about him. For Curio, his Centaurs did pretty well. His Manticores did a lot of good disruption. His archers in frontline got shut down by the Greenskins, but Greenskin frontline is tough to outdo. It's kind of their whole shtick. That was really high energy and fair analysis. Hey, thanks, man. So who won that? Stead? Okay. I got caught up talking about it. I forgot to give somebody a point. What is that? Okay. We'll get to it when we get to that. The Golden Knight person? The Golden Knight person. Okay. NC catch a back up to RTK. We're still down. We're still down 0.5, but we're scrapping back. As RTK Stingers versus NC's Niklaus Kislev versus the Tomb Kings. And they brought the Golden Knight. I haven't seen her since that DLC came out. The DLC came out, people tried her, thought she was garbage, and I'm one of those people, thought she was garbage, and left her in the dumpster. Niklaus versus Stingers. For RTK and Kislev. Kislevite warriors and armored Kossars for a front line. We have some dervishes and some skirmish dervishes. A little Grom, Tempest caster with the Gust of True Flight plus the Blizzard. Golden Knight, Nariska, Lazia. with her Urson's Claw frozen thing. And then I imagine her silence. Yeah, her AoE silence. So she just wants to like find Kotep and stick next to him for the whole game. We also have Kastalton for some fire damage, for some healing, for some buffs, things like that. On the side of the Tomb King, Skeleton Warrior, Skeleton Spearman frontline, Ushapti, melee version, 1 Chosen of the Gods, 2 Bone Giants with some Tomb Guards halberds, and then DJ Kotep. The double Bone Giants are going to be a problem. Double Bone Giants can outduel Little Grom, but not if Little Grom has the Gust of True Flight accuracy and ranged increase. Actually, Little Grom just naturally outranges the Bone Giants something fierce. Did you already cast the game you played? Yes, I played it live. I think it was game 5 of the stream. Skaven versus Dark Elves. I won't spoil it for you since you clearly haven't seen it. Kastalton and the Golden Knight have gotten in here. And like I said, she probably just wants to find Kotep and follow him around because she has that aura silence that's constant, so he can't cast any spells if she's next to him. Classified Dervishes diving in do get countercharged by Ushapti and Halberds. They don't want that fight. They're going to back out. But Little Grom has nearly taken out the Chosen of the Gods all by himself. Little Grom is also trying to kite back out of the Bone Giants' range and force the Bone Giants to walk into all these pistols and halberds, which obviously they're not going to do. They're not going to go all the way into those guys. So soon they'll have to fall back into their own lines, and then Little Grom keep kiting. So far Kislev is playing really well around their ranges. What kind of music does Kotep play? Dubstep, classical. It's classical music that he occasionally adds dubstep to. Usirian's Incantation of Vengeance. But no, it's occasional, by the way. It's occasional. It's like Mozart's, it's going, and then right around... What the hell is getting cast right here? What is this? Oh, that's a blizzard! Oh no, that's a blizzard! Oh, it's on everybody! Tomb Kings, no! They didn't see it coming! It's damaging so many units! Oh, that is a disaster for Niklaus and NC as their Tomb King's army just all dies in one spell. Now there's a paltry force of Skeleton Warriors trying to stop the Kislevites on their way in as the pistols shoot at the Bone Giant. Kotep's under attack by the little mage lady, but so many things just died in that blob. That is a mistake he will want back. Kislevites Warriors chasing around the Bone Giants. And the Bone Giants, I have the exact same opinions about them as Zaytang. They're strong, but they can't do anything in melee. You need to just swarm them with random cheap guys, and then either they put on guard mode and get stabbed by halberds, or they fight back and still get stabbed by halberds, but do like nothing while not shooting. So the Bone Giants are fake balance of power at this point. I think they're too surrounded to ever get away and shoot again. DJ Kotep is trying to run down the Frostmaid of Tempest. The Golden Knight and Kastalton are fighting side by side. And Kastalton, he has a couple heals in the back pocket for her, so she's not that damaged. Sad classical dubstep music. Anyway, yeah, to finish that bit I was talking about, yeah, so it's just occasionally between violins you'll hear like one, like, wow, and then it just cuts. It just, like, hard cuts. You get just that. But it's still enough to be considered dubstep. Anyway, focusing on this game, it is over. One of the Bone Giants is about dead. The Tomb King's front line is almost entirely gone, and Kotep gets surrounded and beaten down! So much damage so suddenly. And Kislev takes it. $321 kills on the caster, 2,400 value for her. But the little Grom kite from Stingers was also excellent. I don't want to take away from, like... I don't want it to be just like, oh, that Blizzard got him the game. Because he was playing so well with Little Grom range and kite that he probably would have won anyway. But still, it was an amazing Blizzard. Bone Giants did pretty well. Little Grom took out one of the Ushaptis entirely by himself. And then the Skellies all died. GG. RTK takes a point. I'm not going to give it to them, but they take it. I'm not going to put it up on the scoreboard, but, you know, they got it, technically. There it is. Fine, I'll do my job. Remember, the magic number is 7.5. 7.5. RTK have to win 2 more games out of what is left to take the Clan War. NC, we got to win 4 or 3 if one of them's a 2v2. Alrighty. RTK's Drakens versus NC Bavarat. For RTK taking the Vampire Coast versus NC's Beastmen. And we have, I don't even want to call this a box, it's just a concentric circle formation. We have halberds and pistols on the outside. 1 handgunner also on the outside. Some depth guard with pole arms in the middle. 2 mortars and Celostra Dirafon with her summon and then Tide Call. For the Beastmen running up, a bunch of archers, a bunch of Ungor spearmen, 1 almost dead Centaur throwing axes that overcommitted a little bit. We do have a Trader King caster that's going to love this circle formation, very, very much so. Butchers of Calcan Guard, and then we do have the Black Hordes, Ravagers, Gore Herds, ROR. So we'll see. Vampire Coast has never been a fan of archers. They are always weak to them. They hate archers with a passion. So this concentric circle formation really won't defend them from the archers too much. We'll see what Celostra can do about that. Really nice overcasted Tide Call to start off, and I imagine we'll see her Ghost of the Past summon come out very soon, as most Vampire Coast players just throw that out as soon as possible and throw it onto some archers to get a little bit of damage. Front line of Ungor Spearman Herds and Ungor Herds is suffering, as surprises literally no one, and hey look, the damn Knights Errant are out. It's almost like I've cast a Vampire Coast game before. But the archers are doing good work. Already, a handgun mob is dead. Almost dead. Bomber mob's almost dead. Mortars are in a little bit of trouble. And the Beastman frontline did take a lot of pounding, but like they'll be back and in greater numbers, like the Sand people of old. In comes a big old Trader Kin. Hits Celostra, but also some of her frontline doing good damage. And Mortar is in with both of his Chaos Spawn summons. I believe that was his involuntary one that just popped. Yes. So he still has his voluntary Chaos Spawn summon that can come out at any point. Balance of power is about 50-50, which is very scary if you're the Vampire Coast. Because the balance of power is 50-50 while you have a Ghost Knight Errant out on the battlefield, and a lot of the Beastmen are routing. Those Beastmen will come back. You'll be crumbling, and the damn Knights Errant will fade away. Butchers of Calcan Guard should not be chasing them, though. That's not worth your time. The damn Knights Errant will fade away on their own, so the Beastmen do have to refocus up. Meanwhile, Morgar has popped double Chaos Spawn summons into the backline of Vampire Coast, killing off more bombers, killing off the mortars even, and really putting the coast on the back foot. With the damn Knights Errant dead, if the coast can shut down these mortars, then they can kind of kite out the rest of this game. Celostra can't go too far on her own to shut these guys down with the Butchers of Calcan Guard and the throwing axes waiting to say hi to her if she leaves that box. But if she doesn't leave the box, then the archers can shoot for free into here, completely uncontested. Again, with the stipulation that the mortars get taken out. Another beautiful Tide Call, but will it be enough as the coast are just getting taken apart? Chaos Spawn Summon's about to fade away. I think 3 seconds left on this guy, 28 on the other one, which will help them a little bit when those guys go. And there's a dog. Oh, there is a dog. 1 dog. Starts to chase off some Centaurs. Maybe he's going to reroute some of the archers that are nearby, but Centaurs throwing X's, rear charging the dog will take it out soon enough. Beastmen starting to kite back a little bit with some of their archers. As the Vampire Coast realize they can't stay in their box too much longer, they do have to get out into the field of battle. And the Ungor Spearman Herds that were once routed are back. Some of them are even terror routing again. But like I said, they'll just keep coming back over and over again if you don't have the agency to chase them off the battlefield. And the coast is more than happy to do that if they have the time. But each time those guys come back, it's time for the archers to keep firing in. This mortar staying online is a little brutal. It's down to 1 model apparently, so I guess it's not the most effective. But the Beastmen are so cowardly. If they get shot by one of it, you know, and it like gives them the shot by artillery debuff and they rout, if they rout 2 times after that, they shatter. So essentially, this thing can still kill an entire archer unit. It just relies on leadership rather than damage. Bomber Mob still doing good damage to the front line, Butcher's Calcan Guard trying to hold it up while another Trader Kin Overcast comes in. Celostra has no healing whatsoever. She's not the Tomb King. She doesn't get a slow army passive. And she's not the Vampire Counts. She didn't bring Invocation of Nehek. But a big Mortar plus Tide Call combo does rout off that Ungor Raider with a lot of damage. It just might be too late for the poor Vampire Coast. Still have a mortar firing, still have some pistol mobs. Handgun mob is super damaged, bomber mobs are almost dead. And the Beastmen just keep piling in. Song of Enthrallment is out to lower the stats of all the Beastmen. These archers are so low, but they're hanging on for now. Centaurs with throwing axes going to charge in downhill onto the gunnery mobs with pistols. Some beautiful stuff. Tide Call takes out 2 Ungor Raiders while that mortar continues to fire. He's going, man. He's doing his best. Keep this game alive. Butchers of Cow Guard, Morgar are very healthy. The Trader Caster is also very healthy. But besides that, the Beastmen are just about out of gas. Not saying the coast has a lot left either, but it's not like the Beastmen have a whole army waiting around. More Beastmen pile in, but now the pistol mobs, now that they're in melee, they are horribly squishy and weak. Centaurs and Butchers Cow Guard tearing them apart. There's 1 Halberd mob still left doing some good damage. Another Tide Call out onto the Ungor Spearman herd. Might rout them, might leave the Butchers all alone in a pile of Halberds, but is that enough? The last mortar dies to a Traderkin, I believe, as the Traderkin also starts poking down Celestia even further. She's down to about 1/3 HP, maybe a quarter. And army losses is just around the corner for the Vampire Coast. Butchers of Cow Guard get away from those halberds, which is smart. They're going to go hunt down easier prey. Almost dead halberds and bombers without any ammo is just more worth their time. But then army losses, threatens to hit, takes out the halberds for the Beastmen. And that'll be GG. Is that tier list from a month ago still viable? Like, mostly, but there were a lot of changes. I do have a new one coming out next week. I recorded the first half Friday, and the second half I'll record Wednesday night with Blood Penguin. And then I'll throw it together, and it should be out Thursday morning. Slosher did well. Mortars did okay. Depth Guard Polearms did okay as well. Pistol Mobs did fine. For Bavarat, his Chaos Spawn summons did a lot of work. Trader Concaster, of course, did amazing, but it is going to be the Archer show. Almost all of them paying for themselves, but they got pretty good value out. Okay, so that is NC's point. And let's see. I actually don't know who wins these next games. I did not look at the replays, and I've not been paying attention to the conversation when people say who wins. So let me just get this right. 10.5. There should be 4 points left. Each 2v2 is worth 1.5. So I have all 3 replays here. What is the most hype? Okay, a 2v2 can't end this. That's all I was wondering. Is if RTK wins this 2v2, they don't have enough points to win. Got it. So let's do the 2v2. It's Dr. Nerd and someone versus Houseplant and someone. I'll just pull up the thing I have. Lord Chicken Feed and Iskander and Houseplant, my bad, versus Dr. Nerd and World Beater. Demons of Chaos and Empire versus Nurgle and the Warriors of Chaos. All right. Let's see it. How did RTK get Empire twice? How did they get Empire twice? Whatever. I imagine the 2v2s had like a different pick and ban system than the 1v1s. We have War Wagons, a Soul Grinder of Tzeentch, Screaming Skyrays, a Master Engineer on his Steam Tank yet again, Spearmen, Exalted Plague Bearers of Nurgle, including the Festering Stooges, Exalted Great Unclean One, the Sour Guts, Templehoff Luminarch, a Jade Wizard with only Earthblood, and then a bunch of Knights of the Black Rose and Halberds. On the other side for the Warriors of Chaos and Nurgle, Chaos Sorcerer Lord of Nurgle with only Fleshy Abundance. We have Rotflies, a whole bunch of Rotflies, Chaos Warhounds with Poison, Chaos Knights of Tzeentch, Plague Toads, Marauder Horsemen, Throwing Axes, a bunch of Pestigors on the front line, Marauders of Nurgle, and Pestigors. And the Chaos Sorcerer of Tzeentch of Metal with... Oh, the Skull of Catan plus Final Trans combo could be really brutal, especially if it's on to the Jade Wizard. I think it can, like, literally shatter him, so they should do that for sure. We also have Rotting Riders in the distance and some Nurglings in the back. The Nurglings are very far away, though. Templeoff Luminarch still trying to snipe out the Katam caster. He has to hurry up. You can't fuck around with the Luminarch. It will hit you. Like, even through trees, it'll honestly usually hit you. So he kind of needed to just pop the Skull of Catan and Final Trans combo as soon as Final Trans is overcastable. Okay, trees finally blocked from there. It might be worth it to Fleshy Abundance him just so you can get one good Final Trans off. Be'lakor is hovering ominously, though he's going to start taking some damage as the Templeoff Luminarch is now shooting at him. He is netted, so he's taking big damage. And the Skull of Catan combo has to come out. You gotta hurry up. There's no time to fuck around versus the Empire. Shadow Shroud is out, but it is late. It is too late. The Templeoff Luminarch already shot him quite a bit. War Wagons are also shooting him, and now he's trying to get away. Did block a lot of that shot as the Rotflies are in. Rotflies are elsewhere. The front line is falling apart for the Empire. They really didn't bring that much front line, to be fair. And where is the Skull of Catan caster? He's got to get over here. We need a Final Transmutation. Get in here. Get in here. Actually, though, get in here right now. Right now. Literally right now. Get up here. All right. Chaos Knights of Tzeentch are getting a flank. The Empire and Demons of Chaos did not bring a lot of front line. And it looks like they might be paying for that now. Fleshy Abundance overcast down from Nurgle to aid the Warriors of Chaos. It is healing up their Rotflies, but also healing up Be'lakor, which is you. Get the fucking Skull of Catan in here! Look at this! Look at all these things piled up! Kill them, bro! Get in here! That's what you brought this shit for! Get it in there! Get it in there! I am very, very mad right now. Okay. Soul Grinder of Tzeentch still sniping out Be'lakor. All this stuff just piled up in here. Where is that, like, severely overcasted Final Transmutation, guys? Be'lakor is diving down onto the Master Engineer, who got an Earthblood overcast onto him to try and heal him up. The Shrieking Skyrays are in. The Warriors of Chaos and the Nurgle guys are getting defeated. Nurglings haven't entered the fight yet. The Skull of Catan caster is not playing the game. No! This stream is not headphone user friendly. I'm sorry about that. I do have a cap on how loud I can be, but it's after a little bit. Be'lakor is dying. Oh god, the Rotting Riders were also forgotten. This is just a disaster. The Tzeentch caster of metal is getting remembered. He's coming in now, but it is far too late. The Rotting Riders are also completely AFK. And that's probably GG. There's the Final Transmutation. But the Skull of Catan cancels the Final Transmutation cast. The Templeoff Luminarch takes him out. And that's the end of it. That is the end of it. GG. Well played by Houseplant and Iskander. Good win on their part. Soul Grinder got good value for the Demons of Chaos, otherwise they just tried to hold. For the Empire, Templeoff Luminarch 1900 value, 1400 on the Dudo. That is GG. All right, for RTK, that takes them up to 7. But they need 0.5 to technically get it, because every 2v2 is worth 1.5. NC do have to win both of the following games to get it. RTK has to win one of the next two. Strat game on Empire, and then we have more Empire. Okay, so the 2v2 had separate picks than the 1v1s. Got it. Because I was like, wait, how did I cast Empire 3 times? The final 1v1 is strat game on the Empire versus Nurgle's PA Dwarves. All right. Empire taking 4 Hawkland long rifles. These are the steam tank and the land ship are the big sexy things to talk about, but the Hawkland long rifles are low-key one of the best things the Empire got out of this DLC. They are so strong for 850 gold, it's insane. Knights of the Black Rose do some peeling of the dwarves, Balthasar Gelt with Plague of Rust and Fountain Transmutation, then a bunch of great swords and flagellants for a front line. On the other side for the dwarves, miners and miners with blasting charges, 8 total moving up. 5 Rangers trying to stay stocked so the Hawkland long rifles can't delete them. Then we have Slayers, Giant Slayers, a Demon Slayer Lord, more Slayers, and double cannons in the back in case of landship or steam tank shenanigans. But there are none. It is just infantry, and the Empire is doing their best to kite. Now you might be saying nothing's attacking right now. That is true for the Empire, but when you're kiting, as long as you shoot about as fast as you can reload, that is attacking. Attacking doesn't mean, like, literally you have to turn your brain off and walk at your opponent at all times. It just means, like, engage in the game in a reasonable pace. And stepping back a few feet while you reload your guns is decent. And now the Empire is just advancing forward because the Rangers are getting too close to the Hawkland long rifles, so Strat wants to take the fight and get his front line in the way so his Hawkland long rifles can trade with the Rangers rather than running away when the Rangers can shoot him in the back. Alright, Flagellants fighting miners with great swords as well. Hawkland long rifles have peeled off one of the Rangers already. And then the Knights of the Black Rose go storming through the front line to hit the Rangers as well. Trying to get rid of those guys as the Dwarves attempt to get through the front line. Now, one Knight of the Black Rose could steamroll through both cannons in the back. We'll see if they do that or if they're going to focus on the Rangers. Looks like for now the Rangers are the target as the Hawkland long rifles have taken out yet another one. And a third is already half HP. One more volley from the Hawkland long rifles will take that out. What can the Demon Slayer do? Another Ranger is gone. And the Knights of Black Rose do look to be going and doing what I said. Take out the cannons. Balance of Power is slightly Empire favored, but I think it would be very Empire favored at this point, as so much stuff is already routing, so much stuff is taking a ton of damage, and the Empire front line is winning while their Hawkland long rifles are also winning, and now the Knights of Black Rose are going to run down some cannons. Nurgle's PA does pull his Slayers back to try and hit these guys in the back, but if Strat does what he usually does versus me, he's just going to ignore them and run over to the other cannon instead, and really make the Dwarves just sweat for it as they run all around the map. Hawkland long rifles now turning on to the Demon Slayer, and he is in friendly Hawkland long rifles, but they're spaced out enough that it looks like the other guys are occasionally getting shots in. Though I will be honest, they should probably just focus on the rest of the Dwarf army, not the Demon Slayer. They're getting some decent shots on him, but I worry they're going to have their backs turned as other dwarves catch up to them, which could be a problem. Long rifles seem fine. Long rifles seem OP. Knights of Black Rose pushing cannons around, just being annoying in the backfield. As the other Knights of the Black Rose are just running down Rangers now. These Rangers trying to rally, but they have low HP from the Hawkland long rifles. So on impact, the Knights of Black Rose are probably going to get them close to routing. I guess these are dwarves we're talking about. Demon Slayer gets kited out, almost dead. And then without him, dwarves stalwart in their leadership, but nobody likes losing their lord, especially when you're getting run down by cavalry. So that will make it a little easier for the Knights of Black Rose to cycle route off their Rangers and maybe even get some of them to shatter. Slayers fighting Flagellants, a battle of the unbreakable bruisers. Slayers are much more up to that task, as the poor Flagellants of the Empire will lose that fight badly. But they held. They did what they had to. The Hawkland long rifles can carry. What do you guys think of the Null and Ironsides? Trash. I think the Null and Ironsides are garbage. I've never seen them do well in multiplayer. Even when people like set them up perfectly, they just don't get anything done. They don't do that much damage. They miss all the time. They're terrible. In campaign, they're probably fine, but the AI isn't as smart as a player about how to inundate stuff. And armor on a ranged unit just isn't enough to protect them. Look at High Elves. Lother and Seaguard can protect themselves all day, and they have no armor. But, like, Thunderers and Streltsy can't, and they have armor. It's just about stats. Stats are all that matters. Like, armor is nice. I shouldn't say it's all that matters, but I'd rather have 50 melee defense than 120 armor. Good win by Strat. Empire looking pretty balanced. I did say earlier that, like, in early access, I thought the dwarves would be the shit because I was playing with other streamers. And we're not, like, the best gamers. Like, I love Dav, I love Lich, but we're not world champions or anything. So then I got into the real game and, like, played with much better people, like Hanadins, like Alfredino, Blood Penguin, and Strat. And all of a sudden I was like, wow, so the Empire is a fucking problem! Because, I mean, the dwarves are good, but, like, really good players on the Empire just feels unplayable. They're so strong. This is it. This is all that matters. For 1.5 points to either take NC to 7.5 or to take RTK to 8.5, the final 2v2. Fat Kid at Recess and Bavarat versus Lord Herrenfurter and Housecat of War. We have 4 very good factions right now, but I will say, looking at the factions alone, NC definitely has the stronger ones. Dwarves and Empire top 2 right now versus Kislev, who's probably 3rd, and Beastman, who's probably 5th or 6th. So a lot of very competitive factions, but my boys have the broken ones. Can we bring it home for NC, or will RTK take it? Comes down to the last game, because that's a good fucking clan war. And I didn't know the results before I cast the games, so I didn't intentionally shift this in some way that would come down to last game. I just got lucky. Let's fucking go. We have Empire Knights, Knights of the Black Rose for the Imperial Force of NC. Free Company Militia all over the dang place. And then some Sigmar Sons and Swordsmen on the front line. For the Dwarven contingents, 5 Slayer Pirates, including long-drawn Slayer Pirates, Demon Slayer, Runesmith, Ekron's Miners, more Slayers. It's all Slayers and Doomseekers. It's a Slayer rush. Gotcha, that took me a little bit to figure out. Boris Toddbringer and a Healing Caster also for the Empire. On the other side for Kislev and the Beastmen, Malagor, Dark Omen leading the Beastmen, some Horse Archers of Kislev. We do have a little Grom, Ice Witch of Tempest with Hailstorm and Gust of True Flight, and then Centaurs, Butchers of Kalkengard, Archers, a whole bunch of Centaurs of various types of things, and a Pestigor front line mixed in with Auction Ambushers and Zargard. Betting their hopes and dreams on the Zargard. Slayer Pirates running up, firing their little pistols at the Ungor Spearman herds who come sprinting out. And that is a good trade for the Ungor Spearman herds. They would love to fight Slayers of any kind. Because Slayers generally trade... They trade the same with almost every unit in the game. I'm speaking in generalizations. Complete generalizations. But you want Slayers fighting things that are more expensive than them because they'll do about as well as they will versus cheap chaff. So you don't want to lose half health of a Slayer to cheap chaff, but you would love to trade half health of a Slayer off of, like, a Bestigor or, like, a Graveguard. Butchers of Kalkengard are in, charging through the flagellants of the Empire. And we do have, these are Free Company Militia, right? Yeah, they're not handgunners or anything, but Free Company Militia firing in, trying to poke at the Butchers of Kalkengard. I hate Free Company Militia. I think they're terrible units. I think they're cool in concept, but they aren't any good. We'll see if they finally do something for once, as they're shooting at the Butchers of Kalkengard, getting a bit of damage out. The Doomseekers, wherever they are, I think they're in here. Yeah, they are. Doomseekers should tear through the Zargard and the Pestigors, no problem. Doomseekers are amazing if you get them versus other infantry. Auction Ambushers trying to fire back as the Imperials. Their straight line shots of the Free Company Militia are not going to help the frontline fight at all. They need to find some way to get more active. And we do have some Slayers and Doomseekers AFK on the top side. That is really going to hurt the Empire and Dwarves. They have to keep everything moving. Because they did build a rush build, so you do have to, like, press, pressure. Little Grom is poking out the Demon Slayer. He'll need some Earthbloods if he's going to stay in it. And the Slayer's trading really well against the Beastmen. But on the far side, all these guys that just aren't playing the game have got to get in there. It looks like it's not to be. Slayer's taking free shots. Doomseekers and other Slayers also having some issues. Empire Knights are streaking through, hitting some Pestigors, trying to get onto the Auctioneer Ambushers. Balance power shifting against them, though, as the red team is getting further ahead. The Empire Knights get onto Ungor Raiders as well. This is a big breakthrough for the Empire. We'll see how much they can really get done. As we have some lag, but it's just this map. Southern Chaos Waste always lags around the same time points because it's when lava in the background spawns and it slows your computer down. Butcher the Calvin Guard taking a fight with Empire Knights in the trees. They'll win it, but actually the Butcher the Calvin Guard probably don't want to be there. It's probably not worth their time. Beastmen are successfully peeling their back line. And these Slayers still haven't gotten into a fight. Now they're starting to move in, but it looks like Kislev's Griffin Legions are kiting away from them, and Harpies are going to dive onto the Slayer Pirates. It's going to be tough here. Free Company Militia still doing nothing. But, oh boy, they're trying to do something for once. Slayer Pirates are weird. I do think they're a good unit, but they are weird. I think they're bugged in some way, but they don't feel like they use their ammo ever. Kislev's Zargard pushing into the back line. Somehow they ended up with their backs turned to these Free Company Militia, so I don't know how the Dwarves got behind them, but some confusing circumstance got Zargard to be defending the Free Company Militia in appearance. But with that, the Empire Cav are all getting melted. The Dwarves have taken significant damage across their Slayer lines as well, and things are just going really tough. Little Grom is uncontested in the backfield as he continues to poke away at whatever he feels like. Right now it's Slayers, but we'll see. Auctioneer Ambushers and other Ungor Raiders, that's what you guys are called, have been kept safe and sound. Centaurs and Harpies still going to peel the backline, and Boris is desperately diving in onto the Ice Witch of Tempest, but it's not going to be enough, I don't think. It's just too far behind for the Forces of Order. Lizards need some more Hammer 3 love. Dude, Lizards are OP as hell. They just took a whole bunch of nerfs because they were so broken. No, Lizardmen were like the top faction last patch. One of like two. Because they got redonkulously buffed in the Lore Master of Sotek patch, where all skinks got cause fear if they were next to a Croc score, and then the entire Lizardmen roster got predatory senses buffs and stuff. Lizardmen have been eaten good in Warhammer 3. But after their last nerfs, they're not the top faction anymore. They're still like, eh. Out of 24, they're in the top 10, but they're not number 1 anymore. Need more DLC, more Lords. I think it's all over here for the Dwarves and Empire. Army losses is going to hit soon. Not that it matters to all these Slayers, but it'll take everybody else out of the fight. Dwarven army losses just hit, because you can see the Runesmith is getting outed there. Somehow the Empire has avoided the same fate of army losses. But I wonder for how long, as Little Grom's trying to shoot at the Jade Wizard. There's the army losses for the side of the Empire. And that is it. The Lizard campaign is like nothing? Yeah, Lizardman campaign sucks ass. Sorry, I thought we were talking about multiplayer. Lizardman campaign blows. For sure. For sure their campaign needs some love, if that's what we're talking about. I don't think they need another DLC. I think they need like an Empire style rework. We're sure the Empire style rework came with the DLC, but like the Karl Franz campaign is super different now compared to what it was before Elspeth came out. And he doesn't have any Elspeth mechanics. He just got reworked. So Lizardmen need something like that. I don't think they need another DLC, but their campaign blows. I'll give you that for sure. For sure. Yeah. Good attempt from Fat Kid and Bavarat. Some forgotten units really hurt them. And also just like, I don't know. I hate Free Company Militia. I think they are trash units. And they didn't prove me wrong in this game. And then the Slayer Rush I've seen work on some circumstances, but it overall tends to struggle quite a lot, unfortunately. And the Demon Slayer just got rolled. Well played by Lord Hurtenfurter. Centaur's got some decent value out there. Pesticores did fine as well. I think they were trying to avoid the go all Slayers to avoid armor piercing. Like the Pesticores wouldn't have too much to do, but they still do fine. Zargard did alright. The Griffin Legion did fine. Actually, Amishers did pretty well. What's with the spare sheets hanging around your room? There's a window right behind me that has a ton of sunlight, and it fucks with the camera a lot. Being dead means nothing. Azhag, Rapunzel, and Grom are all dead in the present, but alive and well in the game. Oh, yeah. I think that's a fine way of doing it. Just, like, complete fan service gameplay is fine. You want to see something funny? This is not related to the Clan War at all. So, the final score is 8.5 to 6. GG well played to both. It did come down to one game. If that game was a 2v2. If you count the 1v1s as one game, then it was 2 games. But yeah, thanks so much. Yet again, I mentioned it earlier in the stream, and I will mention it again. Thanks to StratGame, Lenorm, Big JP, and Tim the Wilder for getting a lot of this going. Thanks to everyone who played in it. I just cast it. I really didn't do very much on the organizational front. Just streamed the games. Everybody did great. We had some amazing games today. Had a lot of fun ones. Several that, like, I'm so tempted to make into videos, but I currently have too many good games to make into videos, and I shouldn't make all of my videos just recasts of the live streams. But otherwise I would do the Rogue Idol one. Fucking banged. The High Elves versus Grand Cathay one was also really, really, really good. So yeah, there were some good ones in there. Okay, look at this shit. Look at this, look at this. So, like, Chaos War Hounds of Corn. Just watch the sadness in my heart and soul as they're gonna start taking some damage. They're at like 6 leadership. I can't get them to attack the Hochland long rifles well enough as I'm fighting with Blood Penguin, but I need them to kill these guys. They're at like 4 leadership. Go to -1. -29. They haven't broken yet. They broke the instant I cast Relentless Rage. I couldn't do it. It was the white flag and the Unbreakable appeared in the same tick. And I was like, fuck! And they went off the map. Oh, god damn it. And then the Hochland long rifles helped the engineers kill my lord. The same tick. Fuck. Ugh. And your shit meme video. Yeah, I haven't reviewed that one yet, so I don't know where your Hellblasters are in it, Cyrus, but I will cast that. It's right here. He gets his Hellblasters to fly in the air, which is pretty funny. This isn't a bug, it's just unlucky. Like, I acknowledge it's not a bug. I'm not saying anything's wrong with the game. It's just unlucky that, like, the same tick I clicked on them to make them unbreakable, they broke. Oh, it's so funny. But I just felt like showing that to you because I didn't know how to end the stream properly. But again, congratulations so much to RTK for the win. It was a close one. It was a fun one. And let's find somewhere to send you fine people now. Let's see if there's another live stream going on. My camera's falling apart. Oh my god. Oh, Radiant Ash is streaming. Hell yeah. We'll raid Ash. I am playing a 1v1 campaign with her Wednesday. So check that out. Wednesday will be 1v1 fighting. Okay. Go raid Radiant Ash. Say hi. She raids me all the time and I hardly ever get to raid her, so I would appreciate if you'd at least go bother her for me. I will also be there bothering her. Goodbye, everybody. Goodbye.